Welcome to the ASL Season Open number 1 for ASL Season number 22. This is the open bracket tournament that takes place before any of the ASL qualifiers. So right now we have 4 players that are qualified from the seeds. Obviously, we just had the wild card match. If you missed that, it is on ArtosisCasts, and that got a player into the spot of Flash's seed. And that, well, if you haven't seen it yet, that's Snow. And we also have the seeds from last season, which is Soma the champion, and then Light and Leda, who both made the round of 4. So we have another 24 players who need to be qualified, and this is going to be the first of those 24 players. So this is an open bracket tournament. We're going to look at the bracket at the end. They kind of film it in a funny way sometimes, but we'll make sure to go over the entire bracket at the end of the video so we can see who beat who on the way there. But of course, there's going to be a lot of games here today that I'm casting. And the way that this tournament went last season was best of 1 all the way to the final. So it was like best of 1 until you get to the top 4. And then it's double elimination best of 1 with a best of 3 finals, no advantage to the player in the winner's bracket. Now, I'm not sure yet if they've changed the way that this is done. But again, that's something we'll figure out in the finals. So yeah, I think that's just about it. Of course, you might be watching this on either my Soup channel or ArtosisCasts. Either way, thank you very much for watching, and please make sure that you do follow, subscribe to the channel. But I guess that's it. Without further ado, let's get into the first day of this awesome open bracket tournament and see who is going to end up qualifying for ASL Season 22. All right, so here we go. It's going to be Mind going up against Shuttle on Octagon. It looks like we're in the round of 8 based on that game name. And this is fantastic. That means that one of these players, when they win, should be in the top 4 and thus entering the double elimination portion of the bracket. Now, again, this should be a best of 1. You can see Mind and Shuttle there in the bottom of the screen. This is actually a really nice match when you think about it. I actually put these two players at a really similar level right now. Neither of them had a super great run recently. Like, Mind is still popping into ASL pretty steadily. Shuttle occasionally does miss it, but I think he is ASL level. Kind of unfortunate when he does end up missing it. But either way, I think it's a good match between two pretty similarly skilled players. I would generally put Mind a little bit above Shuttle. I think that, well, I'm a little bit partial to Mind. I think the way he plays is very, very intelligent. He was nicknamed the Scholar Terran for a reason, but doesn't always deliver the absolute highest quality games. Sometimes he looks really, really on, and in fact did get a second place in ASL season a few years ago, but hasn't really had any high points like that since then. Okay, so taking a look at this opening right now, it looks like it's probably going to be like a factory expansion here from Mind, and with Shuttle, it's a little bit harder to say exactly where he'll go, but it looks to me like it's going to be a highly optimized Nexus. Probably off of 1 Dragoon, although this build, since he's not scouting at all, it is possible he'll go Nexus before the Dragoon. I've seen that popping up a little bit lately, so not entirely sure about that. Now, while we kind of wait for these guys to find each other and really get this game going, I do want to thank you guys for tuning in, whether you're watching on my Soup channel or on ArtosisCasts. Please do follow, subscribe. It really, really does help. I very much appreciate you guys. And for those of you wondering, generally on an ASL season, I'll end up doing all the qualifier stuff, wildcard match, qualifiers, season opens. Those will always be something that I cast and will appear on ArtosisCasts. And Tasis, of course, will be along for the main part of the season, which will be starting pretty soon now, since we are already in the season open number 1. Now, this season open number 1, by the way, of course, we're going to qualify 1 player into the ASL tournament. And then next week, there will be ASL season open number 2. And then after that, normally 1 week after that, is the actual ASL qualifiers, right? So we're going to have basically 22 spots left, right? Because 6 from 28. Yeah, 22 spots for those ASL regular season qualifiers, which I'll be covering as well on this channel. So yeah, please do subscribe. Get excited because the final season of the year is upon us. Now, this was a very, very fast Nexus going up from Shuttle. As you can see, just a well-optimized quick Nexus. And Mind is going to start his command center right away here as well. A few Marines standing out front. The SCV is maybe going to get blocked completely there. So that's a little bit unfortunate. And the Dragoon is going across the map really quickly. So I guess he will probably get away with that. Although a probe turned around to chase the SCV. I literally don't know why you would do that. It's like pointless if he's going to go micro his Dragoon. He can't do both. But yeah, the 3 Marines plus Vulture going to be able to push that back. You know, based on the Nexus timing, Mind knows that range isn't on the way. So he doesn't necessarily need to make a bunker. Some players might still make a bunker here, but I think in cross spawn, a situation like this, you've already shown a Vulture and force the Dragoon away. It's very unlikely for your opponent to try to attack into you here. Shuttle is going to have to stay back pretty defensively. Now, looking at Mind, he's probably getting mines right now to put some mines up into some of these expansion locations, you know, to block Nexuses and all that. So we'll see about that momentarily. Yeah, another Marine comes out as well as another Vulture. I'm surprised about the 4th Marine. Like, that can be a little safety precaution, but you can also push with it. Now, the push that it looks like Mind is doing here, I'm not a big fan of. I'll be honest. Like, the 4 Marine, 2 Vulture push where you try to lay mines at the front, it never does anything. So, I mean, I'm happy to be proven wrong, but it never does anything. Let's see. Now, that's a really good mine. And okay, so he blocked that perfectly with the Vulture. So that was a very good catch. He does get a completely free Dragoon. Like, he had to lay 2 mines, okay. But let's see if this actually does anything from here. Now, already targets down that Vulture and gets it very, very low. Again, this is a push that we've seen plenty of times. I tell you, like, bringing the Marines across, having 4 Marines, laying these mines, trying to bust through with just Marine Vulture, generally what happens is Protoss just defends it. And then it's like, yeah, you lost some extra Marines, you lost some extra Vultures. You don't really have any way to slow a 3rd Nexus anymore. You don't really have too much of anything going on, honestly. And Shuttle is actually being really careful here. He adds a 3rd gateway, which I don't think he even needs, but he might try to get aggressive knowing how many Vultures are being made and how light this will be on siege tanks. Now, I think I see a bunker being made at home for Mind. So that would make sense. Oh, does he have speed as well? Yeah, he does. So that's exactly what we see going on here. He's going to try to lay some mines and actually bust in here after those Dragoons are leaving. But Shuttle's micro so far is very good. He's got to target down this mine. Okay, targets the mines perfectly. And you can see perfect blocking. Laying some mines behind. Okay, that wasn't a bunker. That was actually a landed barracks. But these are ranged Dragoons now. This is actually a little bit tricky. Now, there should be a siege tank popping out very shortly, and it's only 3 Dragoons, so I don't think that Mind is going to take damage. But Shuttle can absolutely walk up here and poke until that siege tank is out. And yeah, it looks like the siege tank is out now. You know, the 3 Marines, 1 tank, you don't really want to fight that with 4 goons. If you had 4 or 3 goons, if you had 4 goons there, he could actually kill all that relatively easily. But I think Shuttle will probably play further back with that little group. And honestly, like, he should just go make a Nexus. I'm surprised with how slow he's being about that. Like, he should... Look at this. He's got 900 minerals right now. 1,000 minerals. What are we doing? Is he just going to double Nexus? I guess he could, but that would be really weird. I am confused as to why it took him so long to get that Nexus. It's like, okay, he brought the Observer across to try to pressure, but it was only 3 goons. He wasn't able to do very much. He pulls back. He has, like, a huge amount of minerals that he hasn't spent. Feels like a little bit of a flub. Like, either you're going to put on that counter pressure, or you're going to make the Nexus quickly. If you send the Observer across the map, you do need to make something happen with that. But I think Mind screwed him up by keeping those 3 or 4 speed Vultures over on the map and kind of keeping him back in his base. Now, Mind is following this up with a 5-factory build. His factories are very well timed. He's getting siege mode right now. He has a good amount of siege tanks at the moment. The Vulture's still rotating around. Shuttle is adding 3 gates, and he's going Reaver. So he's going to be on 6 gate plus Reaver. Now, we will see if he actually goes for the Citadel. We will see if he goes for 8 gateways. I imagine that there's Reaver tech and it's not just a shuttle. It might be just a shuttle with Zealots. Oh, it is. So that's a shuttle to hold Zealots to drop on an army instead of Reaver tech, I believe. Unless there's a Reaver tech at the natural. No, there's not. Okay, so that is just a Zealot bomb shuttle. That's like, and that actually fits better with the 3-gate Observer. Generally, 3-gate Observer doesn't go into Reaver as cleanly. It's like there's just too many minerals being spent. But he is getting the Citadel at a nice time. So what Shuttle should be doing here is kind of zoning everything out a little bit. He needs to go on the map, clear some mines. His Observer is watching those tanks right now. That's incredibly important. There is another factory being added, so this is going up to 6 factories for mined. But Shuttle is doing many things well here. The only thing that I see that's a real problem is he should have, and look at that, 3 more gates being added. That's actually 9 gates. Shuttle should be able to hold this. I'm actually predicting a Shuttle victory in this game right now. The only thing is Shuttle should have more units further forward. Oh, sick. Okay, everything just changed. Now, because the 6th factory was being added, this really looked very good for Shuttle because that signaled that this was going to be an all-in push. But then Mind threw down the command center. And this is a beautiful thing about Mind, is you'll see him doing something and be like, okay, these are the timings that are associated with what he's doing. And then he just does something else. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. Right? Like he added the 6th factory. That looks like an all-in. I think he got some intel and looked at it and said, no, we're expanding. Because if you look at what Shuttle's doing here, the fact that he got up to 9 gates quickly, and he's actually going into carriers. That's very unexpected. But he got the Citadel at good time and everything as well. So like that push was never going to work. And the fact that you expand behind that, Shuttle does not have a quick 4th base. And scans are going down and he sees the spinning cybernetic score. So Mind right now, probably what we're going to end up seeing is he's going to add up to 8 or 9 factories. 9 is the best here. Yep, and he's going directly up to 8 at the moment. But 8 or 9 factories, macro heavily and attack. Now, there is a Templar Archives for Shuttle. So Shuttle getting Psystorm instead of carriers right now can change how this game is going to look. But if that Templar Archives doesn't allow him to get into some Psystorm, then there should be a timing attack that lines up where he gets killed before, unless this turns into 2 Stargate Arbiter, which would be really weird. Yeah, it is carrier. It is carrier. Normally you start on 1 Stargate Arbiter. That's why it was kind of like this has to be carrier. But he does have high Templars as well. So this is a competitive game right now. I do think that Mind is in a slightly better position. His position is somewhat simple, right? And that definitely can help. So as far as armies, the army of Mind is better, but Psystorm can make all the difference. Now he has to attack. There's no real option here. You simply must attack when your opponent is going for carriers. Carriers outscale mech completely. Now he's adding the 9th factory that I was talking about previously. Very good to see. Good saturation on the bases here for Mind. Shuttle is taking a 5th base. His 4th base just got up in mining. He's starting that 5th nexus. He's spreading his army in the center. He's doing the things he needs to do right now. But the thing is, really Shuttle basically needs to make sure he's staying alive until he has about 6 carriers. Once you have about 6 carriers, they start to really outscale what mech is doing. But before that, it's a pretty wide open window for this attack to occur. And again, if he doesn't get good Psystorms off here, this is going to be terrible for Shuttle. Because this army is definitely stronger right now for Mind. I'll say, I actually think both sides are playing well. Again, Shuttle, I think he was very late on his 3rd. He was kind of like hemming and hawing on what to do there. So I think the 3rd was late. And I do think that the carrier tech that quickly was a very big risk, especially against Mind. Mind is really known for getting good intel and then acting upon it. So I think that those are a couple issues on Shuttle's side. You can see how far back he's being pushed by literally pure Vulture right now. He has no observer there. They all got picked off. Finally, another observer does come up, but this is going to allow Mind to move across the map pretty freely and pretty far as well. All right, so these siege tanks coming down right now to join up. This is going to come down to probably one engagement. Shuttle is attacking in a little bit sloppily. We don't have a single Psystorm. There finally 2 Psystorms, but he's already lost most of his Zealots. This is not the best attack right now. Now, hopefully for Mind's sake, he has Goliaths on the way, because I don't see really any anti-air there. And these carriers are gaining interceptors. There's the Goliaths. I would like to see him actually bring a few SCVs up and start making a few missile turrets. Like, just 2 or 3 SCVs making missile turrets against a quick carrier build is, like, unbelievably strong. Now, 4 interceptors are out. We'll see if this pops up to 5. Because sometimes Protoss players forget to get that upgrade, which is critical. It looks like he forgot the upgrade, but it possibly, like, it just happened to finish exactly as one died. I think he doesn't have the upgrade, guys. I think he's going to be stuck here on 4 interceptors. Mind is looking poised to just absolutely kill Shuttle right now. Moving forward, sieging up. All right, a DT coming out, trying to buy a little bit of time there. Don't forget, Shuttle does have 5 bases. There's still potential in this game for Shuttle. You can see he's actually up in supply. But the position is so strong right now for Mind. Now, let's see if these Zealots can help clear everything out. They might actually. We don't really see much buffering here. Oh, my God, that's a lot of Zealots. Getting absolutely on top of everything. But if all these units get knocked out and there's still 3-4 siege tanks, it's still good for Mind. See, he's going to be able to kill this mineral base, it looks like. The carrier count. Okay, he does have the carrier capacity upgrade. We see a lot of interceptors there now. We need another big round of Zealots coming out, but the Dragoon count is very low. Oh my God, he left 5 Dragoons off to the side. Those are actually really, really needed right now. Really needed. Those 5 Dragoons make a big difference in these battles. All right, coming forward right now with those Zealots, getting some good storms off. Okay, good storms there. Still, this Nexus is not dead yet. Okay, Vultures come up and actually pick off a couple High Templars, which is huge as well. But the carrier count is increasing. Again, yeah, the Observer seeing those 5 Dragoons, knowing that this is incredibly important to bring those forward. By the way, the 4th base has been started. That is, I would say that's a little bit slow on the 4th base. Probably best to make that as you're moving out, even if you have to skip a few units. Because a lot of times you get into these weird prolonged positions where it's like, oh God, I just need some more gas. And we don't see him able to have that gas right now. Right? Like, the gas is going to be the gating factor here for Mind, almost certainly. We'll see about that. But his money is staying pretty low. Lots of mines have been laid. Some missile turrets have been made as well. Really good to see that. The siege tanks are just high enough in number to maybe contest this push out. Okay, one of the carriers died. That's a pretty big pick-off there. Dragoons continuing to just put damage down onto these missile turrets as well as Goliaths. Oh, God, he picks off another carrier. Oh, but that's a lot of gateway units. This is one thing we can definitely say about Shuttle in this game. He did not skimp on his gateways. He has a surprising amount of gateway units coming out at all times. And you know what? With these extra gateway units, he's actually broken the push. I thought for sure Mind was going to be able to take this when he won the big battle pushing into this general area. But just the macro coming out of Shuttle, the amount of gateways he's had, has really allowed him to battle back. And now you look at this, and this looks unwinnable for Mind at this point. Unwinnable. Oh, yeah. I actually forgot something, guys. In this new season, the center area has almost no buildable terrain. Only right there. There's a patch right there where that Vulture was. That is buildable, but the rest isn't buildable. So when I suggested that you should bring some SCVs to build missile turrets, that was actually not doable. That was not doable. That's changed about this map, which actually, you know, obviously that can help in these situations where you could have built those turrets and done a more prolonged push. So Shuttle here loses his army, but that's okay. He flies away. He did lose a couple carriers, so that like kind of still keeps Mind in the game a little bit. But Mind losing all those units, now you have to refill your siege tank count, you have to continue your upgrades, and you have to make a ton of Goliaths. And that seems really difficult, especially with the amount of gateways that are pumping. Look at this gateway army coming up. How are you going to hold this? You have to keep siege tanks alive to be able to battle armies like this. He brings up 4 siege tanks, 5 siege tanks. It's not bad, but it's not what you need here at 18 minutes and 30 seconds to hold on. You see these carriers really starting to get some damage down. The Goliaths having a harder and harder time keeping those off of everything. Picking off specifically gas SCVs, kind of funny to see. Double Armory is up there for Mind. We saw the science facility earlier as well, so who knows? Maybe we see some more upgrades come to him throughout the game, but at 113 supply against 172, this is the type of situation where you should send a couple Zealots off to the side, drag mines, right? Get them out of the way so that you can just start making Nexuses everywhere. And really, you just keep rallying your units to the center and poking with carriers. If too many Goliaths come up, you use your Psy Storm. If the whole army comes up, you know, it's not really going to be an issue because he has to do a very slow push against the Psy Storm. Like, this is a great position for Shuttle. Shuttle really looks like he's going to be making it directly into the top 4 here. All right, some Psy Storms going down. Not the best Psy Storms right there, but I don't think it matters too much. More Psy Storms coming in to hit some of those Goliaths. There are quite a few Goliaths here, and he's being very efficient. I think Shuttle is pushing maybe a little bit too hard. I like this. When he stays out of range of the siege tanks, I think that is a really great move. Yeah, just get a little bit of damage done there. You can see Mind right now is mining from that base, which actually did get another mineral patch, which is really good. And just that 12 o'clock base. Shuttle looks like he's getting ready to take top right. He has something up there. I think he's thrown down like maybe he's making a cannon or something to clear the mines. We see this little group of vultures down here that does have 2-2. Yeah, there's the cannon to clear that mine. The group of vultures going to be able to pick off these High Templars. Really, really effective vultures. Fantastic. For sure. It seems to me this game that Mind is going to have one more chance. It looked pretty bad, pretty unwinnable, but he's got 2-2 upgrades. Those vultures actually just bought him a lot of time. He's bringing his army forward once again. Now, he's down 70 supply, so don't hold your breath too hard for this this comeback from Mind. But with 2-2 upgrades and good positioning and the right composition, sometimes you can make a bit of magic happen. I believe it's about 6 carriers right now, which is darn strong. But Shuttle doesn't want to throw this game. He's playing it very carefully right now. Three 2 upgrades. Damn, looking good right now for Mind as far as upgrades. Shuttle was a little bit slow getting that 6th base up. He did remake the mineral only as well in that time, so that's good. But yeah, that other main base is going to be important. I tell you, the one thing that I feel like has really been missing here from Mind is the speed of these additional bases. I really feel like he could have made another base somewhere on the left side of the map. I think that that's an important thing to do against carriers because the carriers, like, they skip terrain, but they are a little bit slow. So you can play a little bit of a positional game against them. Now, Shuttle coming up, he's clearing the center. You can see the back and forth of this mech army. Still very high quality mech army here. Looks like, I think that was 6 or 7 carriers. I should have counted them when they split up, but I was looking at the siege tanks. Can't take my eye off something so beautiful as a group of 3-2 siege tanks. Now, it looks like Shuttle is going around into this base. It looks like, is this a counterattack? I feel like he's going down here to check Whatever he had down there that was blue got eliminated. So I think he was just going down to check, like, oh, are you trying to make a command center? Maybe we can end that. He's bringing his entire army up here. Now, Mine should lay mines on the retreat path while he brings his army up. And that's exactly what he's doing. You see those vultures that are coming up right now from the bottom? Those laid some mines on the retreat path, which is important. Because if he can push this army back into the mines, that could be very, very useful. Now, here Shuttle goes. He's going to go for the full engagement. Siege mode goes down. There's no more High Templars with Storm here. But is there enough muscle from Shuttle to actually eliminate everything? Now, I'll be honest. This looks like something that Mine can win. But Shuttle pulling back, killing this command center, which is the main command center, is a big deal. Because now Mind has to make another command or float another one from very far away. And every time you float one, that's one less comsat you're going to have. Man, it becomes a problem. This game, by the way, going much longer than I anticipated, you know, when we saw what was going on earlier. Between the attack timings lining up, armies going down, all those things. By the way, 3/3 upgrades here from Mind. So he's got those great upgrades. He's got one siege tank in the right-hand side of the map shutting down mining. 7 kills on that thing. Look at this. A little group of siege tanks goes to the side. Should target that Nexus. I don't know if he'll get the kill on it or not. I think he's just barely not going to. If he had gotten this Nexus, this would have been amazing. Instead, it's kind of terrible because you're losing like 5 tanks and not getting it. Now, the rest of his army comes up here, but that is not enough Goliaths, really. Like, they have great upgrades, but you get one Storm on those Goliaths, you get a couple Zealots getting up on top of them, and things are not going to go well for Terran. A lot of High Templars are on the side there. Okay, we finally see some Storms going down onto some of these Goliaths. The Gateway unit's coming up to help fight as well. The Siege Tanks have already been eliminated, so very, very difficult position here. All right, pulling back. Got to get back to mining at that base. Mined at half the supply of Shuttle. This game is decided. GG. Shuttle goes into the top 4. All right, here we go into our second round of 8 match. It's going to be Effort going up against Speed. Great TVZ coming in here. And here we go once again on Octagon, as I assume the entire round of 8 will be. In the top right, we have Effort. And in the bottom left, we have Speed. If you recall, Effort did make the top 8 in the last ASL Open for last season. Ended up losing to Tulbo, surprisingly, and was not too happy about that. And then forgot to sign up for the qualifiers. And thus did not get to play in ASL, even though Effort is one of the best players in the world. So I don't think that'll ever happen to him again. That is a brutal lesson to have to learn. And, you know, here, I would say he's probably favored against Speed, but Speed is a great best-of-1 player in Terran vs. Zerg, I would say. You know, he's got some builds that are very, very tricky. I think he's the type of player that might, like, get a vulture in your base suddenly that you don't expect. And it's like, oh, well, where do you go from there? Effort, on the other hand, you know, this guy is one of the best micromanagement-based players. He's one of the most aggressive players. I think he's one of the best that there's ever been. And, you know, I've said this, like, a lot of times, but I have to point it out, right? StarCraft 1, like, it was an unceremonious ending to the pro scene back in the Kespa days. Like, everyone was kind of forced over to StarCraft 2, and it kind of screwed up the scene. And if it had gone along normally, we might not be looking at Jaedong as the best Zerg of all time, right? Effort was on his heels. Like, he was coming up really, really strong. He was supposed to be the next truly great Zerg player. In fact, I think most people would rank him at the end of StarCraft absolutely as top 7 in the world, right? It was like Flash, Jaedong, Bisu, Stork, and then it was like Zhongbi, Fantasy, and Effort right below there. And they never got to fulfill their full potential. So I always feel the need to kind of point that out because, you know, the Effort is, I would say, underrated Always. Like, unless you basically worship the guy's play, he's underrated. Anyways, taking a look here, it is a walled build here from Speed. That is a completely Zergling tight wall, and he does make the single Marine. It looks like Speed is only mining with 1 SCV and gas, so he's probably going to expand off this. If he had 2 SCVs and gas, it'd be more likely to be like a 2-port Wraith opener. But it does look like it's probably just a factory expansion. So I'm very interested to see what Effort does here, because Effort's really good at pulling the trigger on really aggressive builds. And the factory expansion into Vulture Valkyrie type builds, like basically Starport plus Vulture, which has been very popular lately, really aggressive Zergs have started to stomp it out a little bit. But if they're stomping it out and you do something like just a straight Goliath build, you're actually going to be able to hold on really easily. It's kind of funny how that works. Whereas, like, if they play like a more greedy opener, if they just, like, let's say that Zerg here, he sees that, like, okay, this is some sort of tech build, and Zerg goes into kind of heavy drones and goes into mutas and tries to play a game like that. A build like the Vulture Valkyrie build is very, very good against that. Now, if they go for a highly aggressive build, sometimes you're just going to pick up like a really quick free win there against something like the Vulture Valkyrie build, because it's going to be so light on units and everything early on. By the way, this was so greedy from Speed to make no Vultures before the add-on, but I understand. It feels so much stronger. Anyways, if you go for the 2 factory like Goliath opener, then, okay, and this is going to be mass Speedling, I think, but I'm not 100% sure. If you go for the mass Goliath opener, or I don't know if I should call it mass, but 2 factory Goliath, basically. If you go for that and they try to do some sort of aggressive play, it's like, no, you just kind of hold it easily. But if they go for the more economic build, the Goliath build almost never wins. So it's like, wow, there's some real rock, paper, scissors stuff going on with these factory openers right now. Now, this is a heavy Speedling opener, and the Vulture is going to see this. Now, if Speed can keep this alive as he goes across the map, and he's not going to be able to if the surround occurs, it looks like he is going to make a wall, but it's going to be like 2 Vultures. Speed isn't done yet. This is kind of crazy. Okay, Speed just finished, and this is because he went add-on first, by the way. Oh my god, this is so crazy. There's so many Lings in here. Oh, and he utilizes the bro tactic. I'll talk about that in a second here. But this looks like it might turn into an Effort victory really, really fast. So Burrow, basically you have no detection with a build like this. And he is going for the Hydralisks as well. Now, someone recently pointed out to me that Sulky had made this build up and was using this. But this is actually a build that Saxry used back in ASL. I think it was Season 7. Saxry used this build against Flash when Flash did a factory opener, where you go Speedlings with Burrow into Hydras, and you just kind of burrow at the wall like this. And it's really, really difficult to stop with a factory opener. Now, there's some missile turrets being made, but missile turrets won't help against a bunch of Speed Hydras. So important to point that out. Trying to finish up this command center. Ooh, the surround is really, really good. Mines finish up here. Not going to be quite enough, though. And I think that Speed is just going to be dead here in a second. This looks just so terrible. Now, obviously, Effort doesn't have like a ton of drones, but it's a way better position for him right now. Now, some of the mines actually hit. The funny thing is about this is if you could stabilize this, it could become a winnable game still, just because of, the power of having all these tech units out. But it looks like some decent micro here from Effort, as well as detection so that these mines aren't going to make a difference. Okay, he actually sacrifices, and he will be able to pick this off. It does take a lot of hits to, kill an SCV from a Hydra. It takes 12 hits, so hard to pick those off as well, but it looks like he's going to get the command center, and Speed is going to be eliminated here. Really just about nothing left over. And that's it. GG. Effort goes to the round of 4. Oh my god, it's Bisu versus Jaedong in the round of 8. Can you actually get a better match in modern StarCraft 1? I don't know. I honestly don't know if that's even possible. Jaedong versus Bisu, the best Zerg ever versus the best Protoss ever, both in fantastic shape. What a godly matchup. I am so happy. I am so excited. We have Bisu there in the top left. And we have Jaedong there in the bottom left. Cannot wait to see how this one goes. Oh my god. Absolutely excited. Dude, this tournament already is insane. Look at who we've had so far. Mind versus Shuttle. Right? Shuttle and ASL champion for season 1. Mind, you know, it had potential to be one of the greatest Terrans ever and was an MSL champion. Then we had Effort versus Speed, one of the best Zergs ever against this super rising Speed, right? Who was just dominating ladder and is definitely like around a 16er in ASL now. And now Jaedong versus Bisu. I can't wait to see who the other match is. I don't know who it is yet. I'm like, oh my god. I hope Sharp's in it. That would like make me very happy. Let's have like a Sharp versus Royal. Yeah. Nice TVT to round it out. Okay, so it looks here like it is going to be an overpool coming out of Jaedong and a gateway expansion from Bisu. There's no big surprise on either side. I think that you want to have the overpool to make sure that you're going to be completely safe here. Bisu is likely to open gateway expand most often because his zealot control is really second to none. Very excited to see Jaedong try to parry all of that and get his economy going. Bisu's probe checking out for Jaedong, but not finding him as of yet. The zealot should be traveling to the south, so he'll get a little bit lucky on that, I guess. Drone going up from Jaedong to scout to the north. And yeah, that natural hatchery gonna be started. So nothing too crazy for a little bit here. That zealot will come out and we'll have some back and forth, of course. So this is a great time for you to go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I would very much appreciate it. You know, a lot of great stuff coming up in StarCraft, and you know, I think you already know if you're watching this right now. What the game is like 27 years old, never gonna go away. I'm personally never gonna stop doing content for it. So, yeah, it would be a great time to go ahead and subscribe to the channel before you can be one of the first 100,000 subscribers. Look at that, amazing. You know, I think it's still got such a bright future. I'm very excited to see in this season how the map changes will alter the layout of the tournament and alter who's doing well, right? Because that's such an important part is like, does this game... Like, the only thing that could kill StarCraft is a race dominating too much. And we have had 3 years of Zerg winning ASL. So, I mean, there are issues, but I think that people will find a way around them. You know, we'll see if Bisu's able to do anything here. Like, Bisu almost won one of the ASLs. In fact, if you look at it, the closest a Zerg came to losing ASL, well, it wasn't a finals though, right? It was that round of 4 of Soma's first victory. Bisu was killing, and he just barely lost to Mass Zergling all in. So like that was probably the closest we had to a Zerg not winning ASL in the last 3 years. Yeah, really, all the other finals. Well, I mean, obviously Flash in the finals of this past season was super close as well. Actually, it was almost exactly the same thing as what happened to Bisu. It's like, uh-oh, I'm gonna lose. Masslings game 7, let's go. Anyways, right now Jaedong is running around with these lings and being annoying. Oh, he gets a probe. That's pretty big. The lings are pretty damaged. 2 of them are one shot from dying from Zealot. Okay, there goes one. The other one is just about to heal up past that, so these are both going to be 2-shot Zerglings. Cybernetics Core is on the way. Jaedong's doing a good job of keeping this going. More lings coming up. We'll see if Jaedong is able to actually get in there at all. Oh, he's so close to another probe kill. And he's going to get it. Now, that one ling, I don't imagine it's going to get any more, but he ended up getting 2 probes, which is really strong. And that's pure Jaedong right there. This guy gets any amount of lings in your base and you're in trouble. Okay, finally, all those Lings go down. That was sick by Bisu. Just barely gets the Zealot into the right location. Traps a Ling in there. If Jaedong had wiggled even a couple Speedlings in, there would probably be a lot of damage dealt. But Bisu blocking it perfectly as a Photon Cannon coming up, +1 already on the way. His Stargate, of course, coming up as well, but 6 Zealots coming across the map. This is where it can get problematic here for Jaedong. He's got to make a lot of Zerglings to block this. Now, he does have the 3 hatches, and I think every egg we just saw are probably Zerglings. But, you know, Bisu knows how to move these. And he just needs to make sure, basically, that it's not super great surface area. Like, notice how close he is to the wall. He might back up to the wall if the Lings come up. He's trying to get back to his own wall at the moment. Jaedong is going to catch 2 of these. So that's 2 pretty free Zealots. Now, it's not 100% free, because if Bisu doesn't move out with those, Jaedong has like 8 more drones. And yes, he has these Lings, but the Lings don't really scale. Like, they'll still be useful, but it doesn't scale like drones. Like, every additional drone you have gives you more value over the course of the game. Every additional Zergling you have does not give you more value over the course of the game. By the way, we just saw a second Stargate go up for Bisu, so he thinks that Jaedong is going to be committing into Mutalisks, and he's going to Stargate Corsair. So, to Stargate Corsair, if Jaedong commits into Mutas, Bisu is probably going to be able to get him here. But if Jaedong does something else, if Jaedong goes like for the pretty standard like 4 Scourge into a mass 6 hatch Hydra switch, that becomes very, very difficult for Bisu to deal with the 2 Stargate Corsair opener. Now, he's going to be able to knock out another Overlord, so this is going pretty well for Bisu so far. I don't think he's going to lose anything with these Scourge, but notice there is a group of Scourge on the left side of the minimap, and we saw Jaedong switch his screen there to actually micro these. He's trying to catch this Corsair. Bisu, of course, is pretty aware of what's going on. He takes 1 hit. I think these 2 Scourge should go down and try to flank this 1 Corsair, because he's going to keep 1 Scourge on it. This is going to tell him where it's at. But with the other 2, he should be able to flank the Corsair, especially if he sends 1 to each side. Okay, tries to hide the Mutalisks, flies those out of the vision, and does end up getting the Corsair. So that's a big moment there for Jaedong. But losing the Corsair is almost good for Bisu, because then Jaedong looks at that and says, okay, this is good, I can go Mutas. But it's 2 Stargate Corsair, which is going to be a problem. Now, the Mutas come up, and they are going to help the Zerglings to knock out these Zealots. The Zealots have +1, so the Zerglings were not going to fare well. In the meantime, already 4 Corsairs, and I think Jaedong's going to see this and realize, uh-oh, this is 2 Stargate Corsair, which is going to be a problem. Stays and fights for a moment, but you can see that Bisu is starting to really get those Mutalisks down low, and Jaedong does have to pull back, making more Scourge now. He knows what's going on. And we'll see. Like, I mean, you could just make a lot of Scourge and really super commit, but he's droning heavily. Okay. So that does make sense, right? Like, the Corsairs aren't going to kill you by themselves. So he's getting a lot of drones right now. He's using his Mutas. He's using his Scourge. I actually like that he gets the probe that's stuck, because that does help the Corsairs to, you know, stack up. Ooh, this is not necessarily good. And yeah, you can see he kills off like a few of the Corsairs, but the Corsairs end up winning the day against the air units. Few probes go down. A few Corsairs go down, but overall, this is looking better for Bisu than Jaedong. The one thing I really do like is that he's making a lot of drones, but realistically, there's no defense here. Like, where's the defense? Those Zealots, they back up, but there was like only 1 sunken. Okay, a couple of Mutas. You could fly these Corsairs down, but more Scourge have been made. That might be a little bit of a bait. All right, there's 8 Corsairs with +1, I believe, right now, with 2 more on the way. So that's getting kind of insane. And if there's not a decent amount of Hydras, we're going to see a lot of Overlords go down. This is looking pretty bad for Jaedong right now. Zealots coming back. And look at this. Yeah, the Scourge aren't even going to come close to hitting these. Uh-oh. I think Jaedong's out of here. This is looking pretty darn good for Bisu right now, isn't it? There's like one sunken colony. I think that Bisu's just going to run through them. Look at this. Just a few Hydras hatching as the Zealots get in here. The supply block is going to be gigantic. I don't think there's anything left here, really, for Jaedong. I know sometimes I'll say that and it'll be a little bit early to call it, but yeah, that's it. GG. Bisu going to go ahead and advance to the round of 4. Jaedong knocked out. All right, here we go. The 4th and final round of 8 match is going to be Rush against Action. So maybe going to be able to get a Terran in there. Mind and Speed already fell in this round. Let's see if Action can eliminate Rush as well. So we're on Octagon of Ken once again, of course. And in the bottom right, Action. And in the top right, Rush. Okay, you know, Rush, like, it's good to see Action doing well. You know, he was such a staple Zerg for a long time, like a round of 8er in ASL, and then kind of, you know, had some tough times, and his play just hasn't been quite as good, but he's been looking pretty good lately in the games I've seen of him. He's been looking strong once again. Maybe he refound some of that lost passion. Going up against Rush, though, Rush is always like a top 4 Terran. I always put him right up there, right? Let's not talk about Flash. Flash, let's consider him retired at the moment because it's so stupid to always have to say, except for Flash. But you have to if you're speaking honestly, so I'm just going to put that out there. So it's like Light is godly. And then you have like Royal is really, really good. In fact, I kind of put him above Light in a lot of ways right now, but Light's more stable. And then you got Rush as well. Sharp is always very, very good. And a lot of other kind of up-and-coming guys as well. And I would actually consider Leda an up-and-coming guy right now, which is kind of funny because he's been playing as long as anybody. But really, really filling out his skill lately. Anyways, Rush is always way, way up there as far as strong Terran players. Like, always very, very impressive. So, you know, I would favor him against Action. And he is walling, which I actually do want to see. We've had so many tech openers lately, and they're not doing as well right now. A month ago? Yeah, about a month ago, they were crushing, right? We had the Vulture Valkyrie build. We had some cool builds by HBQ coming out, like Vulture Vessel. We had a lot of 2-port Wraith builds. We had a lot of mech builds still floating around. But Zergs have really adapted to a lot of these, and they're becoming really high risk for Terran. I think that they have to go back to being mix-in builds, if that makes sense. I think that, oh my god, is Action going to take a 3rd base right away? That's crazy. Rush is watching. No gas yet. It's actually really good that Rush didn't, like, do an offensive gas there. Because if he watches just right, he's going to know. I'll talk more about what I just was in a second. I know it seems like I got distracted, but this is really important timings, right? Because you're looking at this and you're like, okay, so is this a 3-hatch build? So what you do here is if a drone, see how his SCV just moved to the north? I'm watching the mini-map right now. Well, see how the SCV is moving? He's going to check the north of Action's base again, probably, in a second here. Oh, he's even more sure of it than I thought. He's going to go and check some other locations because the 3rd hatch should have started already, right? If you get your gas that slow, you know there's a 3rd hatchery. So he's going to go to the bottom left and find that 3rd hatchery. Now, this is a little bit of a tricky coin flip build because when you go for a quick 3rd hatchery like this, Terran should probably do a very fast push with Marines. A lot of times, 5 or 6 Marines will just walk across the map. But what we might see from Action is, let's see. Okay, he went layer with that first 100 gas. This is really important because if you go speed, it becomes a trick and a trap where if Terran moves out with the Marines, you kill them easily with the speedlings. But if they don't, everything you're doing is slower and a Marine medic push can hit. So the push out from Rush would do very well here. But he doesn't know the timings of everything. And even if he were to get in and see the layer, he doesn't know when it started. It could have been speed into layer. So he just doesn't have great intel. He knows where that base is. He's getting an academy. Okay. I think what we'll see probably is a 1 Firebat, 1 medic push out into the map, which is going to force Sunkens and or tons of speedlings. So kind of crazy. I know I was talking about like tech openers before, but yeah, I think right now Terrans need to be opening with bio much more often to punish the cheesy builds that Zergs are going out with. Like you gotta kind of bring back stability, punish cheese, get Zergs to be greedy again, and then get more into some of these teched out builds. Okay, so lots of Marines being made. Yeah, the Academy's done. Stim is on the way. So there should be probably a Fireback and a Bat and a Medic. Now, it could be 2 Medics because this amount of Marines plus 2 Medics can kill even 3 sunken colonies. Yeah, there's a lot of little decisions being made right now that are so important. Where's the other unit? Where's the other Academy unit? Is he going to move out with 1? Okay, it's coming behind. I need to see what it is. I need to see if it's a Firebat or a Medic. It makes such a difference. Oh, it's right behind us. Please. Please, Observer, one time. Oh, Burrow. Okay, it is a second Medic. Okay, so second Medic coming up. If he engages 3 Sunkens just right, he'll kill them. Notice we have some more units coming up as well. Oh, yeah, I think actually grouping here is probably correct. So what you should probably do here is pre-stim, partially heal, walk forward with the medics, and then go. But look at those drones. I think Action's ready to put down buildings. Yes, that is superb because he needs that 4th Sunken to really hold on to this base. So he puts this down, and this just buys time. If you try to attack in there, your Marines get all clumped up, and they aren't all going to shoot at the Sunkens, and he'll actually end up winning. So that was a great Evo, and now he's got 4 Sunkens there. But this has cost a lot of money. I believe he has 3 at his natural and 4 over on the left-hand side. Factory gets started at 620-ish, which is really good, really fast. First Muta flying out. This is kind of funny. I don't think he has turrets yet. Because he's forced so many Sunkens, you're not really too afraid of Mutas flying across the map because he can't afford it. It's as simple as that. So Action right now doesn't have a very good economy, even though he has that 3rd base. Now, I think what's going to happen is he's going to make a group of Mutas, try to keep pressure on, drone up like crazy, and go Hive. But he's doing a lot of things at once. So if Rush just has solid micro, solid control, and gets into like a siege tank push, I think that that's probably a game-winning move. Most likely. Sinking Gas is coming up. Factory finishes. He's going to go Starport, and there's the add-on. This is very close to perfect play from Rush. It's truly superb what we're watching here. Now, one thing I would say is, yeah, he needs some more medics. I see 1 more medic there. At this point, he should really have 5 medics. Also, I would like to see him walk back with his group. Like, his group is pretty far forward, but we're getting up to the amount of mutas. Oh, okay, he's only got 6 technically right now. But, like, if you have 11 mutas here, you might lose that group really fast. So you have to be careful. But you know what? He doesn't have that. So I guess Rush is reading that situation really, really well. Hive on the way. Evolution Chamber on the way. A proper one. Oh, he canceled. He canceled the add-on. He's not going to do a siege tank push. So this is going to turn into a macro SK Terran game, which we don't see very often right now. Now, in my opinion, this is favoring Action from this location. I think the siege tank push was actually the right call. The Hive was a little bit slow. The factory was fast. I think he had very good timing to potentially kill the natural with a siege tank push. But, you know, Rush, when he... Like, what happens is you check for the timing of the Hive, and if you think they can have consumed before you break through the sunken colonies, you don't do the push. So he must have looked at that and said, I don't think I can do that. I believe he could have, but of course I have more vision on this map than him, but I can't actually time it because I'm, you know, we have an observer here in the ASL season open. So anyways, that is a lot of bio, by the way, and he doesn't have a lurk yet. Oh my God, is he just going to die to a sunken bust? He might. All right, 2 medics got picked, which is pretty big. Kind of crazy that we don't actually have any lurkers as of yet. The mutas are doing so much heavy lifting at the moment. It's kind of crazy. Well, he kills the entire bio army. that is an easy way to get really far behind. Look at all these drones popping out now. Realistically, like, this is a very difficult position to win from as Rush. Like, he doesn't have a medic right now. He made 2 dropships first, so his science vessels aren't out. He's got really good SCV count, okay? I assume his upgrades are going well. He has a good amount of production facilities, so there are things that are redeeming for Rush. The tech is not super fast, and the upgrades are not super fast from Action. So again, decent things for Rush, but Rush lost a lot of units there. Action sees this double dropship. I don't know if he has any medics in here. He turns around. Dude, if your first 2 dropships get found like that, oh God. Well, that's too bad. Okay, loses a few mutas, or a couple mutas there, and takes a bit of damage, but that's super worth it. Bunch of macro hatches, an additional evolution chamber. Action, and here's a problem as well, guys. Action is one of the best late game Zerg vs. Terran players. He does not always get there, but when he gets into Defiler tech, there was a point where he was basically known as the best Defiler Zerg. I wouldn't say that that's the case right at this second, but he's truly superb at Defiler-based defense. Like, he's not going to miss his consumes. He's not going to miss his timings on these. Look at this. Ultralisk Cavern on the way. This looks extremely favorable for Action right now. We might not have a Terran in this top 4. Now, Rush sometimes pulls out amazing games. Occasionally, even his Marine Medic Science Vessel play looks completely godly. Oh, God. He lost 2 dropships and he made 2 more. So this is a big gamble. When you lose the dropships, oftentimes Zerg won't defend drops right away because it's like, well, I mean, I already killed one of them. And if they're still doing that, they have no long-term play with the Science Vessels. But here comes the double drop. He's clearing the path with the Marines and Medics. Definitely this dropship can end the hatchery in the bottom left for the 4th base. If he can get the Nidus, it could turn into a victory. Like, there's a world in which that happens. Now, the Ling, I think, may have seen the dropships. I'm not entirely sure. No, he's not moving the Mutas or Scourge. If he saw the dropships, I think he would have. 2 more dropships. Oh, crazy. By the way, all these Broodlings all around are doing so well. Rush is, like, really, really trying to not be seen. Really attempting. Rush, these 4 dropships have to not just kill bottom left. He needs to get damage at the 3rd base. Okay, here we go. 4 dropships coming in. There is a Defiler here. Drops only a few units out. Flies over the Darkstorm, but another Darkstorm is there already, as Action is always ready for these things. Now, the dropships let out pretty much all the Marines and Medics. I don't know if there's some that was still stuck in there, but he's got some control on the ground, and he's going to go back for more. So the Mutas have basically been eliminated. He should pick up more units in these dropships and send them somewhere, whether it's into this main base, into the natural of this base, over towards the other natural, just somewhere. He needs to do more right now. This is not enough to end this game. All right, dropping out more. Okay, a lot of the Lings are getting picked off as they try to move across. Ooh, Ultra's starting to come out now as well. Gets that one Lurker. That is a big grab. Nice Plague goes down, but picks off that Defiler. Uh-oh, just slightly short of energy on this Defiler. Right now, Rush, by the way, is taking 12 o'clock, so another base coming up. Ultra's coming out to help clear everything. Now, this hatchery hasn't died, and I don't think it's going to. He's going to save this hatchery. All these Marines and Medics are going to die. Action is still at 96 supply. I got news for you guys. Action's fine. Like, this drop looked pretty good, but did Rush actually gain anything? Yes, he slowed down the economy over here. Yes, he picked off some key units. But we don't actually have very much going on for Rush. Rush, yes, he's taking another base. The vessel count is very low. The standing bio count is like, okay. I don't know the upgrades. We haven't clicked on them in a while. We keep clicking on the Ultras to check the carapace. Okay, 2-1. So upgrades are fine. Like, the upgrades right now are even on both sides. But Rush needs to kill this base. It's so crucial. Is he going to be able to? I don't know. This Ultra gonna pop. Nice group of Marines and medics up there at 12. Well, clears out the little counter harassment there from Action, which is really nice. Looks like an Eraser going to be sent up. I think he might have accidentally double irradiated the same vessel. So that's a little bit of an issue, but gonna force the burrow here at least, so not too bad. Okay, kills that main hatchery, so that is nice. That is definitely a nice kill. That's definitely gonna slow the economy down even more for Action. Great position here as well. The Ultras, this is kind of lazy cleaning up. Okay, there you go. Can't say too much about it after that. Really needs a group of Lings in there. Needs some targeting as well. Oh, yeah, he doesn't fit behind that patch. Ultra's a bit too fat there. But yeah, the Ling coming in will clean that up. Okay, let's look at the rest of the map. Look at how Action is sprouted up as far as supply really quickly. Looks like battle cruiser's going to be on the way. Love to see that. He just got his 3rd gas, though. So there's only 2 starports. I believe as far as flyer goes, there's only +1 flyer attack, not +1 flyer carapace. So Rush should be fine on one-shotting Scourge. If Action happened to start +1 flyer carapace, that would be huge. Trying to get into this bunker to slow down this attack. Vessels coming up, getting some irradiates. Ooh, double dropship going to be picked off. Absolutely nothing getting out. Bad news there for Rush. Look at how Action supply is creeping up very quickly. It's not even creeping up, it's sprinting up. He was at 96 moments ago, it feels like. Already at 130 against 145. Looking very, very bad for Rush at the moment. Has been for a bit, too. Ooh, Great Plague goes down. Action getting some close by Dark Swarms. Looking really rough. We might have some battle cruisers popping out, but it feels like battle cruisers aren't going to be able to change the tide. Yeah, he was about to lose that, so just irradiated anything he could. Grabbed a drone. This is, you know, this is part of the problem of making all those dropships. He didn't end up doing quite enough damage. The vessel damage, like, stacks up over time. You know, if you have like 2 vessels, then 4, then 6, then 8, and you're hitting your irradiates, like you are killing so many gas heavy units. Now, the dropships can do like a ridiculous amount of damage, and they ended up getting the hatchery, but at the end of the day, they didn't do anything more than that. They just kind of slowed Action getting to this exact position that he's in. Now, that being said, if Rush can stabilize this, which doesn't look likely, if he can stabilize this for a little bit, like, I'm talking 4 or 5 minutes. If he lives for 4 or 5 minutes and Action doesn't secure that 6 o'clock base, which he's taking right now, Rush actually could pull ahead at that point. But we're at 140 supply against 140 supply. We're having Ultras out on the map. If you ever lose map control against Ultra Defiler, the game is pretty much over if you're going for bioplay. Like, as soon as a Dark Swarm goes down on a base, you have to lift. You have to run. There's really no way to clear it at that point. Rush is back only in his own quadrant right now. Action in complete control of this game. A lot of vessels are out, but they are a little bit late, of course. Action coming up with another big attack. I think there's enough bio for Rush to, like, last for a while. He's to pull back out of that Dark Swarm, of course. A group of his bio from that 12 o'clock rotating back through the center. All right, Rush is trying to get some sort of attack going. I don't see what that's going to be able to be. 3 Defilers just walk out here. Even with the Radiates going down, they're going to be able to get some spells down. Darkstorm's pushing this bio all back. Maybe he can kill 6 o'clock. Again, if he can kill 6 and deny, you know, not really take more damage for the next few minutes. Action starts running a little bit lower on gas. It doesn't look likely, though. This is such a small bioforce down here. All right, well, I think we're going to be seeing GG from Rush. Not quite yet, but I'm telling you that this is just... Oh, I've been saying it for a bit. It's not really a winnable game. Action has more supply now. Action is on 5 bases, which 4 is basically where it starts to get really out of hand. 5 is just like, oh my god. You better be on mech and almost killing Zerg if they're on 5 base. Just becomes really, really difficult. He doesn't have any sort of drops going. His vessel count has been reduced. We don't see battle cruisers harassing. It's not like the action is low on drones or anything as well. The irradiates are nice. You know, you see that Rush is trying to stay really active, which is good. This is like, you do need to try to do it like this. And I'm not saying that you should just leave the game at this point, but like, this never goes in favor of Terran from here. Yeah, the Ultra's going to eat up a lot of the shots while he tries to pick off some of these vessels. I think he only got 1 there, but another nice plague goes down. GG is called, and that means that Action moves into the top 4. All right, so we're entering the round of 4, so it should be double elimination, best of 1 still here, if it's the same as last season. It's going to be on Odyssey, and it's going to be Shuttle here in the top right, going up against Effort in the bottom left. And this new version of Odyssey, these are stacked minerals. Okay. And yeah, that's kind of a big deal. That generally favors Protoss. They have really ridiculous ways to kind of punish, and they scale really quickly with minerals. And there is a comsat that you saw there in the bottom corner. So it's like a free comsat station, which apparently helps Terran immensely here. Now, I know the pros have been arguing that this map might be just way too imbalanced in like every single way. The free comsat's unbelievably strong for Terran. The stacked minerals, unbelievably strong for Protoss. I heard that it started to go more Terran favored because of the free comsats, but I'm not entirely sure on everything. That's a fascinating idea, the free comsats, because yeah, this is even before this was a very tough map for Terran. But yeah, I'll probably be way more up to date with what the pros are thinking balance-wise about these maps on next week's ASL Open tournament. Just FYI, I was on vacation the past week, so I'm just slightly behind on the exact current to this second feeling of these ASL maps, and that'll be remedied moving forward. But anyways, yeah, Odyssey is kind of crazy. I'm very much looking forward to how this goes down. You know, some people look at this. I saw some interesting reactions when they were showing the stacked minerals, and it's like, oh god, why are you doing this in competitive? It's like, well, actually, I like this as an idea. You might want to make a gas there. Gas, if you make an extractor and cancel, it heals the drone. Every other building does not, but the gas does. You can see how annoying this is already. Losing this extra mining time because of 1 probe in your base is absurd. But yeah, I like the idea of having occasionally a map that looks like this. Definitely not regularly. I don't want StarCraft to morph into fastest map only. But even fastest map can be interesting and fun and cool to see. And I like there being a really weird ASL map every season that just plays completely different from everything else. I think it's so entertaining. So entertaining. Now, when this comes out in the ladder, I will bet you I end up vetoing it after a couple weeks myself. But I will happily cast it. We'll see, though. We'll see. Who knows? Now, Zealot pressure coming down right now. Some lings are being made to deal with this. This is going to be really annoying, though. Zealot gonna, yeah, 4 lings gonna be able to deal with that without problem. And so good holding so far here from Effort. The first Zealot going to fall. Second one is getting here just as that one falls. So that's unfortunate for Shuttle. Third hatchery finishes up. Layer is already on the way, of course. Man, kind of exciting having these new kind of crazy weird maps. Single file. Zealot gonna pick off as many lings as it possibly can. And gets about 3 before falling. Hydralisk Den on the way. Not a big surprise there. You know, you could go mutas on a map like this. It kind of reminds me of gold minerals in StarCraft 2 for anyone who's a StarCraft 2 fan as well. You know, like the trickiness of like, well, you want to do something mineral heavy on a, you know, a gold mineral map if you have a gold base, right? Because you're getting so many extra minerals. That's basically what's happening here, right? The scale of gas being mined is not faster because only one can be in there at a time, right? And like the travel distance is still the same. As far as the I'm kind of messing up my speech here, but basically with gold minerals in StarCraft 2, it would be rare to go Mutalisks. You would be more likely to go roaches, right? Because you're just mining more. So like that, the same thing could be looked at with the stacked minerals, where like it would be a little bit strange if you went for a Mutalisk-based build. I mean, not completely uncalled for occasionally, but it seems stronger to do something that requires more minerals because you're mining your minerals so quickly at that point. So kind of reminds me of it in that way, which is why I said no big surprise that we see the Hydralisk Den. Still a little bit of scuffling between Lings and Zealots on the map. I feel like that phase is pretty close to over now. Corsair comes in and will harass an Overlord. Another Overlord up in that main base. Probably going to fall to the next Corsair, is my guess. The Overlord going to fall. This one going to fall as well. Just trying to get some good intel off of this Corsair before it has to turn around. It's going to see Hydras popping. Spire almost done. So 2 Overlords picked off is pretty solid. Another macro hatch coming up. Evolution chamber already there. So nothing too crazy or out of the ordinary, despite it being a weird type of map here. Okay, Scourge popping out will force Shuttle back. One thing to mention. Oh, wait a second. The Speedling's getting by. This is actually kind of a big deal. No real defense here. Oh, God. Look at how many probes are stacked. Okay, so yeah, the Lings. You know what I wonder, because of the amount of stacked patches and that they lose almost no mining time, you might actually stop workers quicker. On fastest map, you have like 50 stacked patches or something, or 100 stacked patches. I don't know how many they actually put in, but it's so many that the more workers you make, the more sense it makes. Here, it might actually make sense because there's almost no downtime to only have workers equal to the number of patches and then just spend on other things. That's really interesting. I'm going to have to check in on that. Like, I hadn't even thought of that because we don't have maps like this. Generally, just constant workers on fastest to get to a huge amount is the way it's always played. So kind of interesting that you might just stop. That would actually make it even more like gold minerals in StarCraft 2 than I was speaking about before. Now, this is a huge amount of Zealots getting in here. The Corsairs are going to come as well, pick off an Overlord. As the Hydras come up, I would like to see those Corsairs rotate down to the south and hunt some more Overlords. A huge amount of Zealots still here, but yeah, those Hydras would just barely win that. Another Overlord goes down. Hydras are here, though, so you do definitely want to turn these Corsairs around and try to save them. DT coming out onto the map. A couple High Templars there as well. I actually wonder, now that I'm thinking about it, part of the reason why there might be a comsat there. Oh wait, no, you can add comsats on. Can't you? Sometimes because you can't build next to the minerals. I wonder if that's an issue with the comsat, where it's like you can't like you can't build the comsat there. I'm pretty sure that you can though. Anyways, I'll figure all this out for the next week. There's no Terrence here anyways. I'm thinking about that a lot right now because it's such a weird thing to have, like a comm set that you can just go build a command center next to that and just be like, yeah, I'm going to scout you now. Okay, a lot of Hydras here fighting against those Zealots. They are going to have to turn around. The Corsair count has been greatly reduced. Quite a few Hydras and Lurkers going across the map. I wonder if we're going to see a containment setup. Would make some sense. More gateways are being added. The Robo is up as well. Well, the wall is going to be chopped up a little bit here. Shuttle's still rotating around a lot. I don't feel like Shuttle's in a very good spot here. Like, nothing about this position makes me feel like Shuttle is about to hit some sort of critical mass that's going to do well against what Effort's doing. 1-1 is done, by the way, so that's good to see. Okay, he has made a few more here. Ooh, tries to drop a Lurker on those stacked probes. You know, 2 volleys and you basically kill all the probes. So that would be big. Oh, some high tempers getting picked off. Okay, I gotta say it. This is not looking good for Shuttle, even a little bit. He just picked off multiple High Templars. The mining has been disrupted. Now, Effort hasn't done anything too exciting tech-wise. He got drops, he has Lurkers and Hydras, and that's it. Right, so he's very layer heavy. That's not unbeatable for Protoss, but it doesn't feel like Shuttle really has, like, great production going on. He's lost a lot of his long-term units already. We're here at 10 minutes, 30 seconds, and he's behind in supply against Zerg. That shouldn't be the case. He's got to build a really efficient army here. Lots of Psystorm, lots of Dragoons. All right, has a lot of probes there stacked now. I do wonder about the probe stacking, though. Like, how many do you actually want here? Certainly not more than 2 per patch. On regular mineral patches, you actually gain noticeably as you get like 3 per patch and even a little bit after that. Here, 2 per patch would be the absolute maximum, I would say. Kind of simplifies the economy in a way, even though this feels complicated because we never play with this. When you think about it, it's like, oh, that's actually kind of more simplistic. It's definitely not something we'd want to have every season. But kind of a fun, interesting thing for this one to see where it goes. All right, the drop going to be stifled here. Good job with those Corsairs rotating through. Oh, man, he's going to get all 3 of them. This is a really, really good moment. You know, Effort has been sitting here spending all of his money on these layer units. Gets nothing done with those 3 Overlords. I guess one of them gets away, technically. Quite a few quite a few pylons going up. Nice little Lurker drop here in the back. 8 kills on that thing. Oh my god, that is very, very painful. Ooh, another Lurker as well. 1, 2. How many did he get? My eyes missed it. I was too excited watching the Lurker, the probes explode. All right, a big army is in the center for Shuttle right now. He's barely mining at the moment, but going to get that back going together. Effort has done a very good job disrupting his economy. Lots and lots of units. Very defensive position at that 3rd base. That does not look very breakable. But I think if you bring your whole army together here as Shuttle, like his probe count is a bit lower than what you would normally see, and I don't feel like that's the case for Effort. So we might actually see this army really plow through a lot of layer tech units. Like right there, that's not defended well at all. Shuttle shoving all of his units into the natural might result in a victory. Because if you get the natural, you can get the main. Third base looks impenetrable, though. Huge amount of Hydra Lurker coming down now. I think Effort recognizes that he can't let that occur. Well, this is turning into a little bit of a base trade. Like, those Lurkers came down, gut stormed like crazy. Counterattack going up with a big chunk of this army. This is suddenly looking like Shuttle might be able to do it. If he kills this base, like, really, if you kill anything that Effort has right now, it's going to be really hard for him to do anything from there. At the same time, though, the Hydras are busting into his own natural. I really don't know where this game is going to end up. The Probe's having to fight now as well. Supplies getting pretty close overall. Lots of Dragoons up here on that high ground. This is kind of insane. There is a fourth base for Effort, and, you know, Shuttle right now is barely mining just from that main base. He's definitely not going to be able to... Oh, my God, the egg wall. He's definitely not going to be able to save his natural. I think Effort has done it. It would be excellent for Effort to end up winning this tournament, because then he wouldn't have to remember to sign up for the ASL qualifiers. We know that's one of his biggest weaknesses. Yeah, I think, looking at this game, I think Shuttle's just dead. Really doesn't have anything left. Look at that. Picks off the Observer. Very few minerals left in that patch. With that stack of patches. Still, though, Hydralisk then going to get picked off. Natural. The third base already got picked. This is starting to look almost like a larva game. It's like, wait, is the Zerg, like, losing every single base but still barely going to win with Lurkers? Is this larva playing? Yeah, Mass Lurker coming up. Huge amount of probes in there, about 10 probes on that stack. Pops all of them instantaneously. Well, there is... Yeah, okay. GG is called, so we should have Shuttle to the loser match and Effort going to the winner match. All right, so we're going to go to Octagon here. Map number 2 between Shuttle and Effort. So clearly, this is not a best of 1 in the round of 4 anymore. I think that is a good change. That seemed a bit silly in ASL Open Season 1 to have the round of 4 be best of 1s with only around a finals being a best of 3. That didn't quite sit right. I don't quite understand why they were doing that. But yeah, it seems like this is a bit of an improvement. So we should have some best of 3s here today, which is fantastic. Now, I don't know if there's going to be... Maybe they eliminated the loser bracket because of that, which is actually fine. If you have a tournament that only has one prize, right? Like the spot plus the million won, which is about $1,000, then you don't actually need double elimination, right? Like, you should have an elimination bracket for each additional prize in theory, kind of, but even that's overkill. Whereas it's like, okay, yeah, you're just playing for one spot. The best player wins. That's it. Like, you can't really complain too much. But what can be annoying is, like, let's say the second best player loses to the best player and then is eliminated, but there was 2 qualifying spots. It's like, well, okay, then that sucks. That's like a bad way to do it. But that's, you know, that's not the case here. It is just a single spot there at the end. Now, yeah, a lot of PVZ is what we're going to be seeing. Shuttle here against Effort in game number 2. After this series, we should be having Bisu versus Action, and that should be very nice as well. Forge opener here for Shuttle. He's looking for a potential cannon rush as you see that second probe leave his base. Now, it is Overpool that has gone up for Effort, so, you know, you can't cannon rush against that. Might need to go for a single offensive, or a defensive cannon, rather, into your Nexus. We'll see what he decides as his probe gets down here and scouts. But yeah, nothing too crazy going to be happening in these early portions of this game. All very, very straightforward. So I will take the opportunity to thank you guys for tuning in to ArtosisCasts. I hope that you enjoy the daily casts. Every single day, I have a new pro game commentated. And yeah, you can check that out. I do appreciate if you subscribe, if you like, leave a comment, all those types of things. It's really, really fantastic. Thank you to everyone who has done that. And of course, those of you who have supported my Patreon at patreon.com/Artosis. Much appreciated. I have a lot of great stuff planned for ArtosisCasts. You know, I think it continues to get better very slowly, but very surely. And I think that's the right way to do it. Just keep working steadily. I think it's become better and better over the years. I know that this is not in 4K, but my daily casts are now in 4K. 4K is not an option here for ASL, unfortunately. But yeah, for my daily ones, they almost always are. I know I did record a couple the other day that weren't by accident. I have to change all my settings every time I record. But yeah, anyways, check it out. Subscribe. It's really appreciated, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting StarCraft, the greatest game in the world. All right, now looking back here at Shuttle versus Effort, with Effort in the lead, 1-0. You know, there's a gateway already on the way. That photon cannon is warped in. The Zerglings come up. There's no probe on the map right now. So it's kind of annoying. Shuttle is going to make a Zealot and then push out. That's just a very obvious next step from here. We'll see if he tries to slip a probe out at that time as well, because it is really important to try to figure out if your opponent's going to go for a 3-hatch opener. Like, that could be a very strong play here from Effort. Don't know yet. We'll know. Okay, he has his layer going, so we actually do know yet. I wasn't paying attention to the gas income. But you actually, you know, we don't have a production tab or anything, but you can watch the gas and measure things in that. And be like, oh, 100 gas went down, and then go down. And, oh, that has to be, you know, a Hydralisk Den. Only 50 gas went down. That type of thing. Ooh. That looks like it's going to be a Hydralisk Den anyways. Layer Hydra Den. Right? Would be crazy if it's an Evo. If it's an Evolution Chamber, I'm going to freak out. Did he start it? I think he started it. Maybe it was just a Spire. No, the layer shouldn't have been that quick, right? I don't know. Maybe eventually they'll show us. We don't deserve to see. Okay, it was a Spire. I guess that drone sat there for a little bit. It didn't really change sizes, so it was hard to tell. So yeah, just Spire coming up. Pretty standard play. Nothing out of the ordinary still here. Ooh, Shuttle gets a drone. Very nice, very nice. Ling's going to go down and try to deal with this guy. Yeah, so Zealot gets cleared out. Sorry, my brain is all over the place right now. I'm thinking about so much. The Speedlings come out onto the map here once again. Of course, we saw the Citadel start up as well. Corsair going to come down and scout what Effort's up to. Cancel something out there. It looks like that was maybe a creep colony that he was making. Not exactly sure why. Maybe those Zerglings were like fanning out looking for a possible Zealot coming down. All right, the Speedlings poke up towards the wall, but there's plenty of Zealots there. Nothing that he can really do with them. Overlord going to get popped. Corsair going to pull back as the Scourge come up. And Gateway plus Templar Archives. Okay, so nothing crazy like the 2 Stargate opener that we saw from Bisu against Jadong on this map earlier today. That's interesting seeing the Lings actually attack up there. Not sure why he chose to do that there. Maybe hoping he could get a couple kills. Scourge flying through, getting some good intel. One thing to note about Scourge is they have like the worst vision radius in the game. Zerglings have pretty terrible vision radius as well. It's just, if Scourge had good vision radius, you would always be setting them in the scout. But you have to fly really close to stuff to see it. I mean, it makes sense. Scourge literally don't have eyes. If you look at it from a lore perspective, the fact that they can see anything is shocking. But he did fly it right over the Templar Archives, so knows that the Templar Archives is coming up. I think, you know, that obviously tells him that it's not like a 2 Stargate Corsair type build. That would make Mutalisks, I guess, in a way, safer to go for. Very decent drone count. Good amount of Scourge coming out, just kind of spreading out, waiting for those Corsairs to potentially fly down across the map. Few Mutas in here as well. Corsairs pull back. Good pullback. If he had flown through that Scourge cloud, this game may have gotten out of hand immediately. Now, Effort here is actually going to kill like 3 Zealots before they get back home, which is really nice. And he's going to get this High Templar. Oh, he actually doesn't. My bad. Never mind. I thought for sure he was going to pick that off. All right, it does end up picking off that High Templar as well. Lots of eggs morphing right now. Let's see what these are going to be. I would imagine that this is the switch into Hydralisks. Already the Mutas have done pretty well, I think. Getting a High Templar, pushing back those Zealots completely. Shuttle has no map presence. It's a real issue here. There's zero pressure on Effort right now. Okay, there's some links. Oh my god, it was mostly drones that he made. There's so many drones at that third base. Love to see it. Look at the amount of drones. Well, you know what? This is really common in Zerg vs. Terran. Like, if Zerg takes a good engagement that kills a little bit of extra bio, they just drone like crazy. And we saw all these extra Zealots die without any real damage, so it makes sense. Now look at this. Dives onto the High Templar while the Scourge chase back the Corsairs. Loses most of his Mutalisks, but that's okay. Another High Templar going down. Just slowing that at all. Effort is eventually here just going to flip the switch and make nothing but Hydras out of his 6 hatcheries. Now, I imagine he's getting the Lurker upgrade, but of course we can't see for sure. But that is going to be a huge amount of units. Now, the way he's playing and the amount of Scourge he's making, there is a possibility that he goes for like True style. True is a really strong up-and-coming Zerg player right now. Used to play StarCraft 2 at a very high level and is occasionally getting into ASL. Who goes Hydra, he goes Muta, Hydra, Muta, Hydra, Muta, Hydra. Well, actually, it normally starts Hydra. But he just keeps going back and forth with them, picking off High Templars and just making lots of Hydras. And it seems basic, it seems easy to counter and everything, but truly it's difficult. He's doing very well with that overall. So that is an alternative way that you could play this game, especially considering the amount of High Templars that have already been picked off. Right, 2 High Templars come with this army. Those 6 Corsair with +1, definitely very scary, but they fly into some Hydras, maybe take a little bit of damage there. Shuttle, starting to really macro up. You can see his supply starting to grow, starting to get a little bit ahead of Effort here. More drones, my god. The amount of drones Effort has made this game is pretty absurd. Well, loses another Corsair there. That was actually the hurt Corsair, the one that was red. Unfortunate that that's the one that he got. So we should see from Shuttle very soon a push out. Now, the push out here, this is the tricky part. I don't think he should do a full-on attack. I think what he should do is walk forward, farm a Psy Storm or 2, get the Hydras into the position you want, then send some Zealots around the map just to kind of make sure everything's clean. Like, for instance, right now, bottom right being taken, that's really hard to defend. If you poke as Shuttle, Effort has to pull every unit. And if he pulls every unit, you can send a group of Zealots around and kill bases like that. So that's the type of move I'd like to see here. Because if your opponent isn't going Hive, I don't feel like there's a big rush to go kill him. Like, your Psystorm counts are only going to grow. Now, there is a single Lurker. That's not that scary. I don't see an Observer with this army. Shuttle's just going to ignore it, although he is taking hundreds of damage every single time it shoots. Okay, there was an Observer coming up behind because he just did kill that off. Counterattack here from Effort, potentially. Oh, my God. Well, you can definitely cancel out that third base. That's easy. And definitely kill the units on the rally. But as this army comes back and flanks, are you going to have a bad engage? I think so. This is a huge Protoss army coming up here. But Effort is going for a flank on the flank. All of his other Hydras coming up here as well. Shuttle going to deal with those Lurkers, but he is starting to lose some of these Zealots here. We've taken a lot of splash damage over the last couple minutes. Another High Templar falls. Okay, decent storm right there. In the meantime, Effort is droning up in that bottom right. Third base, which is a mineral only, going to be finishing up. Shuttle sending quite a few probes there. Oof. A couple mutas, I'm not sure what they were what they were gonna do. Maybe just trying to click them over to harass those probes just lightly or something. I'm not sure. But the Corsairs and them see each other and run away. Okay, cool. 2-1 upgrades there for Effort, as we see. 1-1 still for Shuttle. Hopefully he does have a Forge spinning. That'd be pretty shocking if he wasn't going for +2 on something. And there actually has been some more +2 attack, +3 attacks being made. For a while there, we only really had Carapace upgrades after +1. But I've liked some of the returning to the plus attack upgrades as well. There's definitely a wide range of how Protoss upgrades are going right now. Okay, Effort has macroed so hard at this point, and yeah, he does rotate those mutas around for a little bit of probe harassment. But Effort is like, he has got such a big economy. These 4 bases that he has, 5th on the way at that mineral base, he has so many drones, it's just absurd. Meanwhile, Shuttle, like, this doesn't quite, it reminds me a little bit of Tulbo's games in, I believe against Jadong in the ASL wildcard match. For those of you who didn't watch, I would suggest you go back and check that out. They were playing for Flash's spot, but Tulbo just kind of sat there and got way out macroed against Hero. That's who it was against. But that's not exactly what this is. Like, you can tell Shuttle is a bit stronger than Tulbo, for sure. Like, he is moving around. He is attempting to do things, not just kind of standing there. And he has a huge army. So, like, there are definitely really redeeming things about the way that Shuttle is doing this, but I think this is absolutely not going to work, and Effort's going to 2-0. All right, very good first 2 storms. God, Shuttle's army is big. It is seriously so big. A lot of his Zealots, though, if they continue to go forward, are just going to be eradicated by these Lurkers. Another great couple Psy Storms to eliminate those 3. Some Hydras trying to come in for a bit of a flank, but actually decide to turn around and join up with their brothers in the center. Effort has so many Hydras that even after losing everything there, I think he's still going to be able to beat this army. The Zealots are kind of key for Shuttle, but the Lurkers being burrowed are just dealing way too much splash damage to them. Okay, Effort continues to try to push everything back. More units coming down for Shuttle. Now, don't forget, Shuttle does not have a fourth base. He has not started fourth base. There's some units up at 12 o'clock. So if he ends up failing on this attack, I think the game is over in Effort's favor. Effort has taken no real economic damage as of yet. It looks like the first economic damage is going to be coming very, very soon here. Well, I guess, you know, the mineral base got picked off, but I'm talking more about the main part of his economy that he's had this entire game. A lot of drones falling down at that natural. Hydralis Den going to get picked off as well. Hydra's having to back up against these massive amounts of zealots. 2 armor is completed on them. And GG is called. Shuttle does it. 1-1. All right, here we go. It's going to be the third game here between Shuttle and Effort. Winner goes up to that finals. Again, not sure if it's winner bracket finals or if this is going to be double elimination now that it's best of 3. Either way, still some very good matches ahead of us. All right, in the bottom right here of Attitude, it's Effort. And in the top left, we have Shuttle. You know, I think that it's kind of interesting this being 1-1 right now, okay? Now, Shuttle, I think, is underrated. I think that he is a player that he doesn't play perfectly, and he gets teased a lot because he's got a great type of personality. He's got, like, the type of personality where it's like, yeah, he's not really, like, someone you expect to win a championship, but he's still, like, very, very strong, and he's got, like, way more personality than a lot of the top players. So he kind of gets teased for any mistakes that he makes more than other players. Because of that and the fact that, like, he takes the teasing really well and it's really funny, right? So I think he is underrated because of that. But, like, Effort is a better player. Okay, Effort is better than Shuttle. I would stake my life on that. He is a stronger player overall. But stylistically, it's not that bad for Shuttle, because a lot of Shuttle games are just like, make a big army, move it pretty well, and kill your opponent. He's pretty dangerous in late mid-game, early late game. With Protoss, I'd call it probably late mid-game is probably more accurate. Like, he is pretty dangerous as Zerg at that point. Thing is, Effort is generally pretty aggressive overall. I think if you put Shuttle against Larva, Soma, Soulkey, and I think probably particularly against Larva, I think his win rate against Larva would be exceedingly low and very low against Effort and Soma. But Larva's probably the most and best overall, like, very turtley Zerg in a lot of ways. Whereas Effort attacking so much, the like, opportunities open up for Shuttle. Even though things are going wrong, it's like he has a big army, and Effort is generally not spending a ton on defense. So I think that actually makes this a pretty good match, like a pretty interesting match. Whereas just based purely off skills, if we weren't looking at the, like, the styles of the players, I would give Effort skill-wise, like, an 8-2 edge. But I feel like it's more like a 6-4 edge, that type of thing. Which is, 6-4 is good. That's like I think that's a pretty decent game, a 6-4 edge. Definitely could go either way, right? And again, only because of the styles. Let me know if you guys agree with that one in the comments. So anyways, the Zealot comes up, and the Probe tries to pop in as well, but doesn't quite make it. Plenty of Zerglings, so this should get dealt with really, really quickly. Yeah, even a couple more. The drones come up and surround the Zealot, and just not... Shuttle not looking at that moment, so isn't able to block any of that. Gas going to be coming up. Forge has been started at the front as well. Third base also being made there by Effort down at 6 o'clock. So the game should slow down a little bit from here. Nothing too crazy going to happen for a while. We'll see how long Shuttle can keep the probe alive. I never really trust him to keep the probe alive a super long time, especially against someone like Effort. There's different levels of, like, trying to kill a probe. And I tell you, any Zerg that's not trying to kill your scout constantly is making a grave error. Unless they're literally trying to set something up because of that, where they want you to scout something to give you the wrong information, which is almost never the case, although it does happen. But, like, I think that, you know, if you're a Zerg player, do try to get good enough that you can do everything you need to while microing heavily against a worker, because the Zerglings can eliminate a worker quicker than the other base units. Like, a Zealot has a very hard time catching anything. Marines are ranged, so they do work things down over time, but they're kind of slow, right? So, like, if you're really on top of it, you get away from them pretty well. Whereas Zerglings, it's like, okay, they're only a little bit faster than the worker, but if you micro really, really well, it's hard for the worker to maintain. But you can see here, basically what's happening is Shuttle is keeping the probe really far away, and Effort will, like, come up for the flank, and then Shuttle turns around. So he isn't quite able to get it, right? He's going to hit occasionally, but with the healing and everything, unless he tries to dive in, I don't think Effort's going to quite get it. But he is pretty on top of it overall. Now, 4 Zealots are coming down the map. That probe trying to go up to the third base. Once again, these Lings going to try to catch it as it walks up as well. Speed finishes, so down that goes. And yeah, the Zealots are going to turn around as he sees Zergling speed as well. Second Stargate. Okay. So this is Shuttle taking a little bit of a risk, a little bit of a bet, right? Now, if you go double Stargate Corsair and they try to hit a massive Hydralisk attack before Storm, like the pre-Storm bust timing that I talk about a lot in this matchup, that is very, 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 very hard for 2 Stargate Corsair to hold. Because your Psy Storm is just going to be later. You've spent a ton of gas on these Corsairs. But if Zerg actually commits and makes 5 Mutas plus, your double Stargate Corsair is going to get you a nice advantage. We've already seen this with Bisu against Jaedong earlier on in this tournament. Bisu just absolutely destroyed when Jaedong decided to make those Mutalisks. Like, Bisu cleaned up everything. That's what Shuttle is looking to do here. Now, those are going to be Scourge. You never show the Mutas first. It's always going to be for Scourge to push back the Corsairs to get scouting off the map, and then we'll see if he goes Mutas. But you don't know at this point. Now, the 6 Zealots poke out. Push back a little bit there on the Zerglings that were in the front. A couple Scourge coming across the map, maybe going to do a scout. One thing to note is that there's a Stargate in the top left, and the Corsairs are sitting over the Nexus. So he's not going to be able to scout the second Stargate. What he might be able to scout is how many Corsairs there are, and have the feeling that that is too many. So let's see. Yeah, see how bad the vision is? That was a great catch by the Observer. To show you that, like, the Scourge just did not see that. So he has Mutas popping right now, and I'm pretty sure Effort is unaware that this is 2 Stargate Corsair still. We were right on the edge there of him seeing, and I don't think he quite got the intel. Yeah, you can see with the Mutas going out that it's pretty clear. He's got 5 Mutalisks there. Might make a few more Scourge to go as well. But as we're having 6, 7, 8 Corsairs with +1, Muta Scourge is going to get absolutely toasted, eaten alive. Now, these Mutas going after the Zealots, we already saw a game that looks similar. +1 is not done for the Corsairs yet, but enough Corsairs come out that I think Effort has a decent idea of what's going on now. Now, I would say there's a chance that he tries to go Mass Scourge to catch these, because it looks like Shuttle wants to overcommit. Well, he wants to commit. That it's not necessarily overcommit. It's not like he wants to overcommit, of course. That's not the right way to say it. But he's sending all those Corsairs down. Now, a counterattack comes up from Effort. This is kind of clever. The Zerglings get on top of these cannons immediately, which means a lot of probes are going to end up dying. Now, in the meantime, the Zealot's coming up to fight. Drone's going to drill in front of these Hydras as much as he can, as well as the Sunken Colony. Ling's going up into the main base. The Mutas are actually fighting against like a single Corsair. Yeah, we really need to see those Corsairs active if he's going to keep them on this side of the map. Now, getting on top of some of these probes. Definitely a bit of damage dealt over there. But I feel like he's blocking pretty well at home, except for these Overlords. Oh my god, a lot of Overlords are going to fall. 3, 4 Overlords going to fall there. Look at this supply. 50 of 22. A massive supply block for effort right now. Muta's going to be hanging around, trying to get some more damage as well. I think it's time for the Corsairs to go home and clean these up. They are definitely getting a lot of damage. Another Corsair does pop out, but one Corsair is not that scary, right? You kind of spread it out and you're going to do fine. Another Corsair comes up and almost kills that one. Does end up killing that one off. These Corsairs are staying home for the most part, but yeah, of course we saw one go back. And finally, the Mutas are going to be eliminated. More Photon Cannons coming up. Uh-oh. Group of Hydras going across the map. He does not have very much. Those Hydras can absolutely take down a single Photon Cannon. Oh, the DT, though, absolutely clutch. One Overlord in the center, slowly but surely making its way up. And with the 2 DTs, these Hydras aren't going to do anything. Effort is not going to be very happy about this. When he was eliminated by Protoss last season, he had some choice words for Tulbo. But here, he's playing live. Knows that everyone's watching his game. This is not looking good for him right now. Now, we just saw a bunch of the Corsairs die, so that's like, okay, regaining a little bit of footing there. Still we're spy blocked on Effort's side. Only 46 of 46. He's been having a hard time with that. Finally, some more Overlords do pop, and he's going to be able to make a few more drones and Hydras and everything. Okay, there's one random Hydra in his base, which is kind of hilarious. He just hold positions it up here. That's annoying. Oh, God, a DT just walking in right now. The Corsairs are going to be able to kill off so many Overlords. Oh, this is absurd. He actually got like 4 or 5 drones so far. And now most of the Corsairs will be picked. Another couple DTs over here. And even though they can be seen, there's just no defense anywhere. Another DT comes over. The Hydras will rotate over here. Finally, the 2 DTs get picked off. 4 kills on this Hydra. It's just kind of hold positioning over here. Seems like Effort, you know, very smart to try to move that over and hope that there was a mistake made. And there certainly was. Seems like Shuttle didn't realize that this was happening while he was microing everything down there, so lost a lot more than he should have. 5 kills on this Hydra. It is going to try to run around. I'm not sure why. Maybe he's just looking for a little bit of scouting, trying to see what's out here. But, of course, that was never going to make it out. Another gas being taken. Could we see a switch? Based on that 3rd gas, I wonder if we're going to see a switch back into Mutalisks. He's killed most of the Corsairs. It's mostly Zealots now that are harassing him. The thing is, if you make Mutas and you're trying to kind of use them defensively against these Zealots, it's going to give Shuttle plenty of time to go for anti-air once again. But if he pops the Mutas at just the right time as High Templars are trying to come across, that would be huge. Now, look, he is going for that switch back into Mutalisks. You know, that's what the 3rd gas really was pointing towards, so not too surprised to see it. Speedling's moving up the map right now. A few more Overlords popping. Oh, God, he figured it out. He knows about the Mutas. Remaking a lot of Corsairs at the moment. There are the Mutas. The Mutas are going to get completely slammed. They don't even have +1 flyer carapace. This is really looking like it's going to be a Shuttle game. I think the investment into these Mutas is so not going to pay off. Yeah, they're killing a few Zealots here, pushing them back. But watch as these Corsairs come out with +1 and this count. So much damage so quickly. The Scourge unable to close the gap. Maybe if they had +1, this would be more doable. Quite a few Hydras being made. So the switch is here. But are the Mutas going to make any difference? Like, it seems to me like they're just going to be exploded. That's it. They're not going to be able to pick off the High Templars. The High Templars are going to do really, really well against these Hydras. More gateways on the way. Going up to 9 gates. Actually, he still has one at the front, so that's going to be 10 gates. 10 gates on 2 bases is pretty wild. That is a huge amount of gateways. But again, that's kind of the way Shuttle does it. Shuttle makes a really big army, moves it around well, and tries to kill. Now the Muta's flying back. They know that the the Corsairs are missing. You know what? They get rid of 2 Psi Storms and 2 High Templars there. So that was about as much as you're going to get out of those Mutalisks. So I think still Effort did his absolute best with what he had. Robotics on the way. Some Lurkers are already out. Yeah, if Effort turns this into a massively defensive Lurker Hydra game, or potentially maybe like a containment, I could definitely see that going into his favor. I think you have to have an entrenched position here against Shuttle. Shuttle, like, needs to attack. He's made so many gateways. He's got 9 gates here. I think he feels like he needs to attack. Okay, a huge amount of Zealots coming in for an attack here. And the Lurker Eggs just killing. In the meantime, the Corsairs are picking off a lot of Overlords, causing yet another supply block. It does look like the Hydralisk Den will be picked off. Definitely very annoying. Not that expensive to remake, but it takes time. So we're going to see some missed macro rounds. I guess we would have anyways, considering he is supply blocked. Lurkers pushing through part of that wall. Observatory still on the way. We have kind of a wild game. This really feels like it's going to be like one pretty all-in attack from Shuttle. You know, we're at 15 minutes, 30 seconds. There hasn't been even 1 second where I thought Shuttle was going to take a 3rd base. He is just gearing up for this one attack. And honestly, this wall you want out of there. Almost helps him. Almost helps him. You need it wide open when you come out of there. Like, Shuttle needs to remove the containment really, really quickly and then move across the map. And that's exactly what we're going to see here. Pushes forward with his Dragoons. Going to pick off all those Lurkers, losing no units. Now, here's the question. Where do you attack? And where does Effort defend? Or does Effort try a counterattack? We've seen a lot of counterattacks here today from Effort. But that kind of allows Shuttle to do his thing. Shuttle starts the 3rd base. I think that's wise, considering his mineral patches, the main base, are almost gone. All right, some good storms go down. Loses 5 goons. Hasn't done that much yet. The army is not as big as I imagined it with... You know, he had 10 gates there for a while, but definitely not as big as I had imagined it. I think that Shuttle needs to reinforce here. Okay, kills off that Lurker that was hitting his 3rd. Yeah, he's almost out of minerals completely. Honestly, there's like 1 attack for Shuttle. That's it. Like, he needs to just keep reinforcing and keep pushing. Not necessarily through an entrenched position, but like forcing Effort to move around a little bit. Oh, bad storm there. Very good dodge from Effort. But Effort is engaging with a tiny portion of his army. All right, more units coming up now. A much more significant portion of his army is battling at the moment. Another storm goes off, but it's a pretty good spread overall. It's not as much storm damage as I had imagined. The massive Zealot Dragoon force, though, doing a pretty good job. The Corsairs flying over the top of these Hydras. Looks like they're all going to be picked off. That does open up possibilities for a switch back into Mutalisks here as well. Okay, storm on the eggs, very smart. These Hydras coming up, trying to slow them down while those eggs are trying to finish. Doesn't look like that's going to work out for him, unfortunately. Kills those 2 eggs. The Lurker morphing behind, not ready yet either. Hydra's being stormed down. Okay, finally that Lurker is done. Picking off 1 High Templar. Zealots getting in on top of this hatchery. Don't forget, Shuttle is basically mining from 1 base. Like, the very tail ends of his mineral patches, his main and natural, are gone. Or just about gone. So he does not have a big economy. Even though, like, he's dealing some damage here, it looks like he is going to end up losing his army. Yeah, another attack here from Shuttle. I don't think he has enough to do anything at this point. He's down 25 supply. I think Effort has done it. Effort looking very, very strong here. Almost in the finals. Shuttle trying to gather his units up, trying to run home and retreat from this massive amount of Hydras following him. I think we're about to see GG. Again, I don't know if there's a loser bracket, but we'll see that in a little bit here. Hydra's moving forward. This is going to be the end. There's absolutely not enough firepower here to take out these Hydralisks. That third base should be knocked out in a matter of moments, and Shuttle's going to GG. Effort moves on to the finals. So into the other semifinals, it's going to be Bisu against Action, best of 3, but we're going into Attitude here, right? Yeah, this is Attitude. So if I'm not mistaken, this was map 3 before. And yeah, so I'm not sure. It's possible that everyone was playing at the same time and they made them hold map 3, but it also could just be in a different order. Sorry, really no way to tell, but we'll be able to figure it out, I guess, to see if a second game occurs here. Okay, anyways, Bisu versus Action is pretty solid as far as a matchup goes. Action does have some range. He definitely will pull off all-ins against Protoss, but also plays a very solid macro game. I think if he gets up to Hive without being behind, he can take on Bisu. But I think the earlier portions might be a little bit more difficult for him, since Bisu is just so good at early and mid game. Well, Bisu's good at every aspect of PvZ, truly. Now, Bisu goes Pylon Scout and is going to find Action first over here in the top right. This looks like an overpull from Action, but I'm not entirely sure. That might actually just be Overlord. Oh, okay, so it looks like he might have been wanting to go pull first. Since the probe gets here this quickly, does he change what he wanted to do? Because it looks like Bisu really wants to go Nexus first here. Yeah, and that's like that looks to me like that was an 11 or 12 pool that went down from Action. So that looks to me like it's in response to the probe getting there that quickly. And I believe against this, Bisu can go Nexus Forge. Fairly certain about that. Like, I believe it's 12 Nexus, 12 Forge. But I could be wrong about that. I don't always have the exact numbers for the most recent builds down all the way for Protoss vs. Zerg, since I very rarely play it. Yeah, there it is. So it is a 12 Nexus into 12 Forge. So Bisu knows all the timings of things like this. He's not going to end up taking any damage. Action sees that with his Overlord, but he knows the timings as well. So I don't think it's like we're going to see him... Well, he makes 2 eggs at the same time. So this could be 4 Zerglings. This absolutely could be 4 Zerglings, but it also could be 2 drones. The thing is, that can be a good trick to wait until your pool finishes to make anything. And look, okay, it is 4 Zerglings. Now, if he had made those, let's say he makes those before the spawning pool finishes, Bisu makes Gateway, not Cannon. Okay? Here he went Cannon Gateway. So those could have been drones. And if they were drones, that would actually put him a little bit ahead because Bisu had already started Cannon. So definitely a little bit of mind games that could have occurred here that didn't end up really doing it. But just something to keep in mind because that's something that you will see from time to time. 4 Lings here. Battering that probe takes quite a bit of damage. Quite a bit of hull damage on it here, down to 10 health. Of course, the shield's continuing to heal up. A couple more Lings coming up. You know, if you have 6 or 8 Lings here, you absolutely... Oh, yeah, he's making more Lings. You absolutely can go in against 1 cannon. Hopefully, for Bisu's sake, he's going to have either some good scouting. And see as how this probe comes out, the Overlord saw this, and Action moved his Lings. See, we're seeing Bisu's vision. See how Action has moved his Lings down to the south? His Overlord spotted that probe coming out. So there's definitely an attack coming. Notice how he's running 2 Lings back. Now, here we go. All the Lings are going to come at once. Let's see if Bisu can actually block everything. Oh my god, this is crazy. More probes coming down. I think he's going to block it. Wait a second, wait a second. Action gets on top of the cannon. More lings are coming as well. Bad news for Bisu here. Only one zealot out. Another one's going to be done pretty soon, but it's not there yet. He does have the potential to hold position here as well, since he has a zealot out. Oh god. Moves that zealot out of the way. Got to be careful about this. Okay, another zealot pops. I think Bisu's done it. He's held. Action is very low on drones right now. That Zergling attack, while I don't think it's quite appropriate to call an all-in, that was pretty committed. He skipped a lot of drones to try to get a quick win there, and it didn't quite work out. Now Bisu here with double cannon. Stargate on the way. He's going to be able to very easily make a Corsair to scout what's going on. He's got zealots at his wall. The two cannons makes it really hard to do anything. Bisu's in fantastic shape. Now, Hydralisk Den gets started. That layer is on the way for action, but he needs the Hydralisk Den to properly block the Corsairs. Now, we don't know. Like, maybe he goes Spire anyways. Maybe he just tries to macro out into Hydras from here. But the fact that he has to make Hydras to block these Corsairs, the only time that that's a good thing for Zerg is when Zerg went for, like, super heavy drones and lake ass. Occasionally we see someone like Hero play like that. But in this particular case, it's like, oh, no. He cut his economy, and that's why he has to go for Hydras as the anti-Corsair unit, which is just no good for Zerg. So Bisu here going to pressure out with a couple zealots. Really, really like that move since he has double cannon. You'd have to make so many Zerglings to actually threaten him here, and he still might hold, so definitely not something you want to do. That would be an insane risk. I think that's maybe a Spire down there in the bottom right. The shape of it on the minimap, I believe at the bottom right of his third base is a Spire, not an evolution chamber. So it might be a switch into mutas a little bit later. Because a lot of times you see a play like this, and it's like, do you keep making Corsairs? Bisu is one of the more likely players to keep making Corsairs. But if you see your opponent like going into Hydras heavily, it doesn't make too much sense to produce a bunch of Corsairs, which turns it into a little bit of a mind game. The two Corsairs still rotating around, trying to get some scouting done. Group of Speedlings posturing, trying to kind of scare him into the fact that something may occur with these Speedlings. Nothing's going to happen. Action's not going to try anything with those. Corsairs check the main again. I don't know if they've seen that Spire in the bottom right. Robo on the way. Yeah, I don't think he has any idea. Okay, they are going to fly down towards that third base. I think once he sees the Spire, oh gosh, he actually doesn't. Okay, now he sees the Spire. He just saw it. And notice how he turns around instantly. He doesn't want to get caught by Scourge. Zealots coming out makes sense. Keep some forward pressure on. Maybe they'll absorb some shots from those mutas. The fact that he's going Robo right now, like that Robo is not really greatly timed. Like there's not a lot of gateways. He's just restarted on that Corsair production. I think Action has mind gamed this very well. I think there's some real potential with this switch back into Mutalisks. So the Muta's going to come out and put some damage onto these Zealots. So this does confirm what Bisu immediately suspected when he saw that Spire. You know, even the placement of the Spire, it's kind of tricky. Like, as soon as you see this Protoss, you're like, wait a minute, he hit it. Like, he's trying to make me not see this. So many mind games in StarCraft, seriously. All right, fair amount of Corsairs out. 4 or 5 of them right now. I don't know if he got +1, actually. I think he did not. It's possible that Action has +1 on the way. Yeah, double cannon. I don't think you want any part of that. Good micro there from Bisu as well. More photon cannons coming up to guard that drone line. Ooh, I think this might be a Dark Templar drop. DT drop right now. That's a great way to bring your Robo into play here in this type of game. I'm very excited to see this. Lots of attention in the center. That's purposeful from Bisu to have some units running around. 2 DTs. Does he send 1 to each base or 2 into the main? 2 into the main. Ooh, that is one of the quickest reactions I've seen. Action instantly pulls the drones after the first swipe, which you don't get that audio cue for. So he was really paying heavy attention. So gonna split the 2 DTs up. 1 Dark Templar goes back to the shuttle. The other one hiding up in the corner. Looks like Action will catch this. Or, well, he doesn't quite... Would have been better to Scourge it before he could lay anything out, but I think he didn't even notice. Still picks off the DT, gets the shuttle, so very, very high quality there from Action. Oh, God, and then he immediately flies the 5 mutas into a ton of Corsairs. Bisu turns around beautifully. Going to be able to save the rest. 4 photon cannons here. Very well defended. Just now adding the gates. This feels like a pretty late gate add. We're almost at 10 minutes in the game, and Bisu's sitting here on 3 gateways. Well, it's really been a lot of tech back and forth, right? Like, that's a very fast drop with DTs, the switch back into Corsairs as well. It all just kind of slowed down his production. But it's not like Action has a ton going on. His supply is pretty good, but that's because Bisu's gateways are late. Oh, my God, this DT that was hidden in the top right corner. I didn't realize Action never found it. Tons of damage going on to Action's line there. And notice how Bisu just attacks a random other location to take attention away. Really, really smart. Every single drone, 17 kills on this DT. Insane. This should be a victory. How does Bisu lose from a position like this? Feels impossible. As his gateways are finishing, like, I feel like all he needs to do is make enough rounds that he's spent his money, and it's like game over. Losing 17 drones there is just awful. Very well done by Bisu. All right, pylon goes up at this 3rd base. Looks like Bisu's getting ready for another base. He does have a huge mineral bank right now, which makes sense. Again, you know, those gateways were so late here. And there's so many gas units that he needs to buy. Big supply lead here for Bisu, up about 40 as he takes his 3rd. Has a unit in the bottom right, by the way, kind of rotating through some bases. So that's very, very powerful. Make sure that Action isn't taking an additional base. Bisu, I think there's nothing Action can do from here. Like, Bisu's control is already great. His attacks are already great. How do you take this battle with just a completely inferior Zerg army? Doesn't seem very realistic. Some lurkers are on the way. That would be one step. But I think Bisu is just going to go through everything. Now, drawing the Zealots away, you know, making a few lurker eggs, just kind of making them waste a bit of their time in that bottom corner, maybe buying you some time to get some additional lurkers out. Not a terrible idea, but Bisu not going to fall for it. Just going to move forward here. Hey, that's a good snipe on a High Templar. 2 High Templars get sniped. Not bad from Action. Really nice snipes there. Now, that Storm is fantastic. Just slaughters all of those Hydras at the bottom. GG is called, and Bisu takes it. All right, we're going into our second game. I guess it was just a different map order with vetoes and everything here in this round of 4, so that's fantastic to see, because we're going to see Backrooms. This is going to be my very first game I've seen on Backrooms, one of the new ASL maps. Some people mentioned after I did my ASL map review that you can find on Artosis TV on YouTube that this is based off a meme? I don't know. Anyways, we're gonna have Action here in the top right, and Bisu, of course, in the top left. Bisu looking vastly superior in that first game. Not a big surprise. You know, I've been saying for a couple years now, I feel like Bisu is basically ASL championship level, just hasn't done it yet. And the way that this season is like looking / starting, everyone's pretty sure that the maps are just being really favored towards Protoss right now. So that could really help Bisu. Although there are a couple players that I would favor against him in Protoss versus Protoss, even though he's very good at Protoss versus Protoss. I think Snow and Rain are both very hard matchups for Bisu in that matchup. So, like, if too many Protosses make it through, that might actually stop him more than it being a good season for Zergs. Isn't that kind of a funny thing? Think about that for a second, right? Like, he came very close in that season against Soma in the round of 4. Very close. But you put, like, I feel like Snow and Rain are just about unbeatable PvP. I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing. But, yeah, that could mess things up. Now, Bisu is going to find action right away and see that this is an overpool. He has opened up with his own gateway. By the way, you can see those divots, those little valleys. Those make rushing with, like, Hydralis or any sort of rush against a wall really, really weak, because there's a big strip of low ground there. So, like, let's say that you try to do a 3-hatch Hydra. Some of your Hydras will be missing shots. So it just makes it naturally much weaker to do some sort of rushing strategy like that. You know, we saw Knockout originally created with those divots, and it's been pretty popular. You know, it makes anything harder. Like, if Terran expands quickly against Protoss and has a bunker, it's really hard to push that with Dragoons. If Protoss does a Nexus first and Terran tries to push that, very, very difficult. If Hydra tries to, or Zerg tries to 3-hatch Hydra against Protoss there, very, very difficult, right? It kind of gives you a little bit more security there. I like it as an idea to mix in. But this season, having 2 maps with it, that does seem a little bit high. But again, it seems like this season is kind of supposed to be Protoss favored to maybe get a Protoss champion coming up. So this probe right now, you know, still being chased by those Zerglings. The 3 hatches have been started. Bisu just making some Zealots and getting his Nexus going as well. And, well, nothing too crazy. Looks like a pretty normal, pretty standard opener. I love seeing the green screens in the background, by the way. The uneven lighting of Bisu's. The absolute ridiculous folds on actions. It's awesome, man. The streamer life. So these Zealots going to push back the Zerglings here. Forge is already warping in. Yeah, he's got a good hold position there in the wall. A little bit of pressure here on this third base. The third base looks so funny, doesn't it? Kind of out in the middle of nowhere there with a ramp coming down the other side. Very funny looking third base. Man, I hope we get into a big macro game here. Lots of Zealots coming out. The fact, by the way, how often do you see gateway expansions? Like the shuttle games, right? Gateway expand, and he's just putting out 1 Zealot at a time, and they all die. Bisu here hasn't taken damage, and he has 5 Zealots. And look at this, 3 attacking towards the natural, 2 standing at the third. What the hell is action supposed to do here? This looks really difficult to deal with. You can really see the difference in quality between Bisu and Shuttle right here. You really, really can. As good as Shuttle is, like, this looks much more difficult. Look at the amount of Zerglings that are having to be made here. And there's still Zerglings over at that third base. I mean, Zealots over at that third base. Kind of crazy. Goes after these drones once again. Action has made so many lings. Look at the amount of speedlings he's made. Bisu's going to have to be very careful. Oh, he gets a drone there as well. Bisu's going to have to be very careful at his natural, make sure that his holes are all plugged. I think he needs to make sure he has more than one photon cannon, too. I think you definitely need 2 photon cannons right now. Although he's getting even more efficiency over here behind those mineral patches. Second Stargate. We're seeing that a lot right now. And on this map in particular, along with Knockout, it actually can make more sense than on a lot of other maps. You know, it's that pre-storm bust timing that really weakens 2 Stargate Corsair. But it's harder to bust because they are going to be missing shots if they try to bust through your natural. So you definitely have some options there. Now, the Spire finishes as the Corsair flies over. Of course, Bisu knows that he can still pick off 1 Overlord and get out of here before the Scourge are out. So he is going to do exactly that. The other Corsair scouting the front of his base. There's no Overlord super close by, so I don't think he gets another kill. Ooh. All right, Scourge are out. I think both Corsairs should make it home. These are going to try to go just slightly ahead, but I think the line that they're trying to go on, it gets hit by a cannon. No, just barely not. Actually, the cannon's further back than I imagined there. Dude, there's space behind the natural as well, isn't there? That's crazy. What is that space behind the natural? Okay, flies up. Doesn't see the second Stargate. Scourge vision. Yeah, look at all that space back there. Craziness. Back rooms. What a map. All right, 6 Corsairs out so far. Gonna gun down one of those Scourge. Ooh, loses 1, loses 2. So the Scourge are actually doing okay so far. And as you kill more Corsairs, it becomes even easier to kill more Corsairs. Something to note. Definitely against 4 Corsairs, like, you never want to be out on the map with 4. That's not a very good number. You're not going to gun down Scourge quickly enough. All right, rejoins a couple more. Going to push back out with his Zealots. Yeah, these Scourge getting a little bit close for comfort. Bisu turns around for a moment, but does turn to fight. Zealots trying to go into the natural. He has +1 attack on these Zealots, so the Zergling's not going to fare particularly well. Drone drill here from action, but Bisu gets on top of the sunken colony. Hydra's just now coming out. Oh god, I think this might actually be critical damage. Look at this. The Spore is there. It doesn't matter. He kills off that Overlord. Zealot's doing such a good job. If he micros these Zealots, yeah, look at the amount of drones he's going to kill. GG is called. And that is a 2-0 for Bisu. And here we go. It's going to be Bisu versus Effort in the finals here of the ASL Open #1 for Season 22. And we're going to start in Backrooms. If I had to guess, I think this is going to be the final match. I don't think there's going to be a loser bracket. I know the way that they like to run tournaments at Soup, and generally they try to cut it down to something like this for a one-day, so that there's not too many games for the players who had to play through a big bracket. So I believe this will be the end, but if not, I will let you know as we get there, obviously, and cast more games. This should probably be a best of 3 between Effort and Bisu. One thing to note is we will take a look at the full brackets, as well as much as we can see of the brackets, I guess is the right way to put it. I don't know how fully they've been filled out for public consumption, but we'll do our best to take a look at that afterwards to see where there might have been some upsets. So yeah, a very fitting finals here. Effort versus Bisu is just one of the better matches that you can really end up finding. And that right there, my friends, is a 9 pool. So no overpool here. A 9 pool is going to be something that maybe you can end up punishing Bisu if he played too greedily. And in fact, it's going to be a gateway expansion Now, it's a gateway expansion and it's cross map. So the 9 pool, I'm not too afraid, but sometimes if you decide to go pretty all in with this, which it looks like he's going to, since Effort didn't cancel his gas, there is a possibility that you end up killing Bisu. Like, against a mass 9 pool speedling, you're going to need a photon cannon, not just Zealots. Zealots alone are not going to do it, most likely. Because you're going to end up losing your buildings, they're going to run by, and Effort's just going to out-micro you. It doesn't matter how good you are at micro if you can't catch the Zerglings. So I think that that's going to be something that's difficult for Bisu to figure out. But let's see. His probe is coming down right now. I think the Zerglings should be able to catch it before it gets a full scout. But even just not seeing a hatchery is going to be pretty telling. Oh my god, he's going to get up right before those lings are out. So he's going to be able to scout the gas as well. Oh my god, is he? Oh, he didn't get to the gas. But this is like, you can tell first off that this is a 9 pool. And there's no hatchery, so it's like, okay. I think Bisu sees that this is speed. Yeah, he just started a forge. That's huge. Effort is pretty darn all in here. Getting ready for that natural hatchery, but of course it's going to be very, very late. I'm actually really interested to see if Bisu goes 1 or 2 cannons. I think it's just 1. But like, as this, look at this, the probe gets in and sees that the hatchery is super, super late. So he starts 1 cannon. Got to be really careful here. If any lings get in, he's going to lose. More lings coming out. I could see a second cannon going up. If he's actually paying attention to just pure Zergling coming across the map. Oh, I think Effort's really in trouble here. Bisu looking fantastic. Oh my god. Here we go. All right, cannons up. Looking pretty bad. Probe checking this out. Sees so few drones. 6 drones on minerals right now. Effort is droning. I don't know that Bisu saw that, but Effort is switching into drones at this point. So if Bisu makes a Nexus, that's the best case scenario for him. And he makes a Nexus. Damn, man. Bisu is just such a complete player. Truly the greatest Protoss of all time. All right, Cybernetics Core is on the way. Bisu looking very, very good. Looks like some more lings are coming up now. Layer. Ooh. Okay, my guess here, guys, is that he's going to get Hydralisk Den very, very soon and do a 3 lurker bust. 3 lurker bust is like the most all-in build. So what you do is you make 3 lurkers and you run up and you burrow them right where the zealots are standing. And you blast a hole through the wall, like where the zealots are, right? Because it only takes 3 lurkers, like a few volleys to push the zealots back, and then the Zerglings just flood everything and kill you. That is my best bet here, but I don't see a Hydralisk Den as of yet, so it might end up being a Spire. It is a, I guess it would technically be a two hatch Spire, but I mean, this is some garbage all in. This is like so all in. Now, notice how he's only showing the initial lings. He wants Bisu to come out to pressure so that he can surround them with the Zerglings. You might remember earlier I mentioned how, like, that would be a tricky play where it's like, yeah, you come in, you surround every single zealot, and then you go and try to counterattack. And that's actually, he is going to go ahead with the counterattack. Very little here. Just pops that first probe, but gets in the way. Look at this. Effort trying to take down that gateway. More cannons being started. Bisu realizes now that this is a complete and utter all-in. He's bringing his zealots back as opposed to counterattacking, and he's doing a pretty good job holding on. He needs to start a cannon in his main base as well, honestly. Like, this is, if you just hold at all, you win. And, okay, well, that's game. That is game. GG. Game 1 to Bisu. Game number 2 of the finals here. Effort versus Bisu. And here we go. We're going to be on Attitude. Bisu here in the bottom right as the blue Protoss. And Effort in the top right as the red Zerg. Try to kind of sneaky all in there against Bisu. It didn't quite work out. You know, that's the thing about Effort. He's willing to gamble in that way. I think that is an important thing when you get up to the top, right? You might try to argue that it's an important thing when you're lower. It's not. It's how you keep yourself stuck because you're all-inning all the time. But when you've got like god tier mechanics like Effort, I think it's actually very important to be mixing in all-ins. I don't know if he'll go for another crazy all-in like that. Like, that was one of the most aggressive things that you can even do as Zerg. Against Protoss, at least. Something like a 3-hatch Hydra, I mean, maybe. But Bisu's so good defensively. Well, Bisu's just so complete in this matchup. There's really no one quite like him. So he was maybe getting too cold there. Turns off his AC. I don't know if you were watching Bisu there. Another gateway expansion for Bisu. And that's an overpool, right? So not a cheesy build. Overpool is generally more defensive. It's like you're not going to get cannon rushed. You can block, you know, gateway, zealot pressure into Nexus. And Effort going to go ahead and go down to expand, I think, here. Possibly do a little bit of scouting as well. 2 drones coming out. Ooh. Kind of hoping that we end up with a decent macro game between these two. I would really very much like to see that. Like, later game multitasking from Effort. Going up against just, like, the superior movement of Bisu. By the way, one of the fun things about live games is you do get to see where their windows are, right? The blue window versus the red window. And you'll notice that they're different sizes. Bisu playing in the 4:3 ratio that StarCraft was originally in. Effort playing widescreen. The funny thing is, like, I've theorized this a lot. And I think that 4:3 is generally better for Zerg. Because you do a lot more, like, micromanagement of units where you want to push the side of the screen with your cursor. In fact, I think in general 4:3 is better in a lot of ways. It's not better for viewership, which is the main reason why I don't play in 4:3 personally, because people really prefer to watch widescreen. And I think it's Terran versus Terran. If you have widescreen, I think that can be a big advantage over the 4:3 ratio. But for the most part, it just kind of speeds some things up for you. Because you want to be kind of centered in the screen more often. Now, a little bit of zealot pressure going on. Really excellent micro there from Bisu saving that probe. But gets a hit on the Zergling so that he can 2-shot it with the zealot. Fueling's out on the map. These lings looking like they want to try to surround this zealot. 4 kills already on the thing. Ends up going down, so some good micro there from Effort as well, who has taken a 3rd base up at 12. Ooh, nice micro from Effort. Picks off that probe really nicely. Of course, with the Zealots on the ramp, you're not going to get too much more done. Forge and Core get started down here. That's interesting. I wonder what he's going to put in the wall then, if you're starting your Forge and your Core. The thing is, he needed them both. I'm sure he wanted one at the wall, probably the Core, but you can't delay it just because there's 2 Zerglings down there. But that actually opens up, like, more possibilities for, you know, I don't know, like a Zergling Flood, something like that. Some more Lings coming down. This is getting a little bit tricky because he can't just stand a few Zealots in the way and protect warping and cannons. You can see already forces a cancel there. All right, starts another cannon. Ah, and it is going to be a 3-hatch Hydra bust. So we're going to see if Bisu's able to hold this. He's got enough Zealots right now that he doesn't necessarily need another part of the wall. When is he going to get this information, though? That it's the 3-hatch Hydra? Does he have to wait for the Corsair? Is he going to try to move out with the amount of Zealots that he has? Hard to say. Cannon finishes up. Stargate almost done here. Citadel gets started. Little group of speedlings just kind of keeping tabs, making him think, you know, he's fresh off of getting Zergling Island, right? So if you started to move out with those Zealots, there might be a ton of Zerglings ready to just run right through your open wall. So Bisu's playing it careful. Effort just keeps showing the lings, making sure that he realizes that they're there. Hydralisk speed now done. Corsair flying up the map. Hasn't seen it yet. Hasn't seen it yet. And there it is. Bisu now knows that it's a Hydra all-in. He needs to add cannons right now. Bunch of cannons get started. Corsair continuing to scout around a little bit. Oh, man. This is going to be crazy. Okay, the lings start to come up. The single cannon is having a little bit of a hard time here. Zealot's taking some massive damage from these Zerglings. Probe's coming up to fight as well. If he gets these 5 cannons finished, Effort is going to be in real big trouble. And I think he's going to. Look at that. They're finishing up. I don't think they've taken damage. Effort's in trouble, man. He is trying to cheese Bisu so hard, and it is just not working. All right, the gateway has been eliminated, but nothing else, of course, was up front. Zealot's still standing here. The cannons, are there enough cannons? I think there are enough cannons to just kill all these, so it's kind of surprising to see him dive in. Like, if the Zealots weren't there, maybe he does it. Maybe he just barely busts the cannons, but with the Zealots there, absolutely not. They just tank so many hits from Hydras. And look at how low that drone count is right now. Effort should be in a droning phase at the moment. But Bisu, if he just adds a bunch of gateways, what are you to do against that? Zealot legs coming up. +1 should be almost done. All right, some more Zealots coming out of that main base. There's no damage that's going to be coming for him. Like, the Corsair is keeping a really good track of, or really good eye on everything right now. 6, 7 Zealots here. Up in the front. Those Zealot legs, as they finish, it's going to be a big deal. That's funny. That was smart by Effort. He moved the Hydras over to try to catch the Corsair on its way home. He had the Overlord in there kind of as bait. Like, there's no reason to really run it away, right? You may as well just watch what's coming out of the gateways and everything, see the gateway counts. It's not like it's going to live that long. But a very clever move trying to catch it. That is a lot of Zealots, guys. Wow. +1 and legs done. 11 Zealots move forward. Yeah, that's enough Hydras and a Sunken that should be able to push that back. But hitting that third base, that does not look like it's enough. Especially if you, like, hold 1 to 2 Zealots or pull 1 to 2 Zealots back to that ramp as units come up. In fact, even more Zealots coming up now. And those can just kind of block the ramp and tank a bunch of shots and let these Zealots get their damage done. So these do end up going back maybe just a tad late right there. The Hydrals count is growing, though. Bisu is eliminating quite a few of them. Starting to target down some of these drones as well. Spire coming up. I wonder if Bisu will go for a Dark Archon. Okay, we see one Dark Templar there. You know, a lot of Protoss players have been leaning into Dark Archon more lately. Best, like, you won't find a game that looks like this where you don't see Best make a Dark Archon, that's for sure. MC has been into Dark Archons lately. We've been seeing them pop up more and more and more. This would be a great situation for one, but I believe Bisu sent his Dark Templar out on the map. I believe he doesn't care about Dark Templar hype. All right, Zealots getting into this third base, getting on top of some of these Hydras. Like, kind of decent blocking here by effort. Oh, keeps the DT on the ramp. I kind of like that. As the units come up, like, if you don't have detection near that ramp, what are you to do? You're not going to be able to move up. All right, well, the DT decides it wants some damage rather than sitting still. Muta's starting to pop now. DT did all right, but I don't know what the anti-air is going to look like here for Bisu. Adding some cannons. Okay, he's adding Dragoons, getting out some more Corsairs. Has 4 High Templars. I'm going to stand by it. I think Bisu needs to re-revolutionize his play with some Dark Templars making Dark Archons. Have absolutely loved that as a follow-up to countering 3-hatch Hydra. But you know what? He got good damage. Like, for sure, Bisu's ahead. As long as he doesn't take damage from these mutas right now, he's still very good to go. Muta's patrolling, looking for these High Templars. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. 1 down. Missed Storm right there. 2 down. Dude, that's really strong to pick off 2 High Templars taking basically no damage. The 2 Corsairs try to chase those, but unable to catch up to the Mutalisks. That's a little bit painful. Suddenly I'm looking at this game and with kind of fresh eyes, and I wonder, losing those 2 High Templars, is that going to make enough difference for effort to rally here? It still feels like Bisu's army is a bit too large. Ooh, that was a good storm. That was a good preemptive storm, and there was another good one. Okay, so that's going to leave 1 storm left over, but there's not that many Hydras. Effort right now trying to go Lurkers. I think he actually just... Well, if he can get the Lurkers, fantastic, but I don't think that's going to happen. This army is just really, really large. This is a perfect opportunity to punish Effort. All right, Bisu moves forward, attacking in. Lurkers not ready yet. Storm on that big group of Hydras that come in here. Oh, and the Observer comes up literally at the same second that those Lurkers burrow. Absolute insanity from Bisu. Perfectly timed out. And it looks like Bisu is going to win the first ASL Open. GG, Bisu advances to ASL. All right, guys, so unfortunately, I couldn't find the full brackets for the ASL Season Open anywhere. I'll try to get them for next week. We'll see. They didn't show them on stream even one time. This is basically all we got is what we already knew, right? So, you know, Mind, Speed, and Rush, 3 Terran players that did make it to the round of 8, but were all defeated. And then, of course, we had a couple or 3 very good PVZs. Pretty good overall. I think Bisu getting through is awesome. I think that this is kind of a funny thing that we're watching right now, right? Flash barely lost in the finals of last ASL season. His seed went to Snow, who he eliminated. The next qualification point went to Bisu, who he eliminated. It was a difficult run he had, and the players that he had to go through are getting right in no problem. So no big surprise there. It's going to be a great season. ASL Open, Season Open number 2 is going to be next weekend, like 1 week from now. So that will be going up on the channel immediately as I cast it as well. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hope that you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.